Gotta have a little animation.
That's just sick.
That's so sick.
I love that this is the first one. I love that it's plumbers. We're going to be talking plumbing today.
Well,
King of the trade, we have our own throne.
Yeah, I was going to say that is good.
Shit rolls downhill.
I have not heard that one. All right, so now let's get this party started, man.
Let's
like
do it.
honestly. So thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks
No,
for having
thank
me.
you.
having us.
And off mic, I was actually talking about how relatively easy it was to coordinate having 5, because we've got a spectator as well, to a roundtable that we want to do. And I'm loving that it's plumbers first. I don't know why, but I'm particularly fond that it's been you guys first, right? So this is going to be an interesting show. I want to go through the table. So I want to go by from my left, from yourself, Aaron. You start. Introduce yourself, your business, any handles you want to share, and then vice versa. All you guys just share, and then we'll get right into the talking.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Aaron, owner of Expert Plumbing and Drains. We've been in business now, I think this is our 4th year, coming up on maybe our 5th year. We specialize in residential service installs, light commercial work, backflow services. I've moved over to Canada here 10 years ago, and I've been loving the journey ever since, just out there doing the best that I can for the industry, you know.
Nice.
Awesome.
How do I come off of that?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know.
God damn. He's got a resume.
We went counterclockwise. No, clockwise. We went clockwise. That's all we were doing.
He's got a resume. My name's Adam Gordon. I've been in the plumbing industry for about 8 years now, going on 9. I run the plumbing department at Arother Group Plumbing. We're a general contractor. I have Instagram, GordonBotPlumbing, and that's about it.
Nice.
Rob?
Yes, sir. So my name is Roberto Fraschini, and
What's the middle name?
I don't have a middle name.
You're
Actually.
Italian, you don't have a middle
I do
name.
not. My brother
happened
has a
there?
middle name. I guess I don't know. I guess they thought Roberto Fraschini was probably good enough.
3 syllables is basically 3 middle names. Is that what it is?
Okay. Well, I think I'm pretty happy with Roberto and Fraschini, so I think I'll do that. And I own and operate Galaxy Plumbing. We've been in business for about 9 years now, and we're going strong. I feel like we're at the beginning of our journey at this point here, because like I'm ready. You know, I've never felt so ready from now. And I don't know, we do service, do construction, and
What's the Instagram handle? Have you guys share the Instagram handles?
I shared mine.
Yeah?
yeah,
Rob's?
at Galaxy Plumbing.
Galaxy Plumbing, right?
Yeah.
And Aaron?
Expert Plumbing and Drains.
Expert Plumbing and Drains, yeah. And now we got the older gentleman.
Hey.
Fine wine.
Yes,
basically.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Sam, welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for having me. So, the name's Sam. The handle is Sam the Plumber. Born and raised in Oakville, still in Oakville. I have a little small business, family business. I've been doing plumbing for a few decades, and we are just in our 15th year of our own business, or my business, and it's the website is samtheplumber.ca, and my Instagram handle is samtheplumber Oakville, and it's so cool because I'm from Oakville, and it was available, so I took it.
Is there another Sam the Plumber Toronto? Sam the Plumber Hamilton?
I think there's a few Sam the Plumbers around and stuff. So
Are you
I think it's
sure?
We
pretty
don't
good.
consider them. We
Almost
almost
serious.
They're not the real Sam the Plumber. We know who the real Sam the Plumber
I
is.
got the
Exactly.
website.
I was going to say, it's true. We know who the real Sam the Plumber is, and that's you, Sam.
The myth, the legend, Sam
Yeah,
the Plumber.
100%.
So let me do a quick shout out to Dahl. Obviously, Thomas is just watching us and making sure that I guess it's a goal all across the board, right? That's all it is. But no, Dahl Valves Limited. Thank you so much, Thomas. This is going to be exciting to do this. I guess my first question to you guys is, do we all know each other? I know that.
Yep.
Okay.
Sort of.
Well,
Sort of, yeah.
If you don't mind, I'll just say that before Instagram, I didn't know any of these 3 guys, or 4 Thomas. We probably saw you at a trade show or something. But anyway, Instagram has brought us together, and we've been talking before we met, and so it's a great community and stuff, and that's how I met them.
Yeah. I know that you mentioned your business is 14, but how many years have you been in the actual business, at the trade?
I started as a first-year apprentice in 1988, so I'm at 35 years.
I was born in 1988.
There we go. First of all, I'm in my 50s too, all right? So it's like we remember the 80s, all right? We didn't drink that much. We remember them, but
Most of them, for sure.
We
Important ones.
appreciate the wealth of knowledge that he has, though.
well, that's
You know
right. And
what I
I'm
mean?
sure there's a lot of respect coming from Sam as well too, because he's seeing that, and I'm envious of you younger trades. You're picking up things a lot faster than we did when we picked it up at your age, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference. But you also have an advantage with technology, so to speak. But I mean, I would also say a slight disadvantage maybe, because we are still talking construction here, right? So it's not everything could be done from your phone, or not everything can be done that way. You can find manuals, you can find resources, or you could probably reach out to a contact, a supplier a lot faster. But I think what the advantage that Sam would have is that there's that experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been in the trade for 8 years. When I was a first-year apprentice, I moved over, and I was already on social media with my last company that I was working with.
Wow.
So I actually got into the trade because I had a daughter, and I wanted to support my family, and I figured, why not get back into the trades? Because I did it when I was in high school.
Nice.
And to be honest, I hated plumbing my first year. I was like, I made a mistake.
What was the one thing that you were so hate towards?
I was working with some grouchy old guys that would throw fittings
So
at
it was
me,
the
and
teacher. It was the mentor.
It was the mentor. But social media allowed me to have mentors across North America, across
Yes.
the world. And I was able to reach out to those mentors and figure out what I wanted to do within plumbing. And that's what the platform's all about. And that's like, now that I'm a licensed guy, I would love to be able to be a mentor to younger apprentices that come up, and teaching them and showing them a passion for the trade that I have.
Yeah,
Right?
and
and
you will.
all everyone here has a passion for a trade.
For sure,
You know what
and
I
you
mean? Like,
will. If you keep up that passion, you will be a mentor.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know, even if it's just one person down the road, but you will if you stay on that line, for
yeah,
sure.
of course. Yeah.
I do want to say that, I mean, the whole purpose of this roundtable, I mean, obviously roundtables in general have been a lot larger, and yet have more people at one time, but the studio's only so big, and the table's so big, and we only have so many cameras and so many mics and everything like that. But the purpose of it was strictly about educating that the audience that listens to this, that construction is a community, it's not competition.
100%.
That's just how it is. You have to look at it that way. You cannot keep on looking at the industry as if, like you were mentioning off mic, your shop is literally a stone throw away from each other.
Oh, yeah.
But you guys are vying for the same work.
Yeah.
But you never look at each other as if you're competition.
Opposition, not
No.
competition. Like,
Yes.
No, not at all.
you have to bring value to the trade. I think, you know, when I moved over from Ireland, you know, I was a pipe fitter in Ireland, and then I came here and I got into residential plumbing. I knew Sam long before Sam knew me, because I was watching him in the area and watching what he was doing. I've been plumbing for 18 years now, so I've been plumbing way before Instagram or anything like it. I'm pretty new to that platform. So, you know, when I seen Sam on there, when I first got involved, I wasn't doing much residential. I wasn't doing much custom homes or anything. So Sam was really providing a level of education. Like he's pretty much putting a standard out there to say, like, he's naming what he does and how he does it. So, you know, for someone like me and growing my business, I can watch for what he's doing and you know, get a lot of ahead of the game, if you know what I'm saying, by watching somebody with so much experience. So
Sam, you're rare, right? Because I've met the older trades, and I'm not going to pick on one specific plumber or whatever. Most of them don't want to share.
Yeah.
They don't care to share. They had it hard, I guess, when they got started. They were taught by a bad mentor or whatever, and they were like figuring, well, you guys figure it out on your own. You don't need me to spoon feed you the information, but you're more than willing to share that information.
100%. I mean, I had that mentor and the guy I worked with that maybe threw fittings at me. I remember they were a little bit coarse and stuff, you know, and you're just an apprentice trying to do the best you can. So the thing that I kind of reflected, I wasn't really too happy a lot of the time. So I wanted to kind of put that back and not put that kind of pressure on anybody else and just give them a little bit of key. Sometimes I just post stuff on Instagram and I just put the stuff out there. Try to do it nice, try to do it great, and just be respectful, you know. And I appreciate the words you guys are saying that, you know, that I've done a few things. But I'm telling you, I might be an old dog, but I'm still learning too, because there's a lot of stuff that out there. And I'm learning every day, which is great. And things like this on these round tables are great for not only us, but for everybody else.
How is that navigating that world? Because obviously you guys are using Instagram or any social media platform to get leads, to communicate with potential clients, but also workforce to attract a new workforce. Is it a positive? Is it a negative on that aspect, or are you seeing more benefits from the community aspect of it?
Community aspect of
Community.
it.
I don't think
So it's the co-worker.
To be honest, I don't use it to get leads. Like,
No.
do you get it for leads? Do you any business off of Instagram? No.
don't even look. For
It's
it.
not worth your time to actually.
It's just not it. We have a marketing strategy, and it's not part of my strategy.
What about you, Sam? Are you seeing the leads come in, or is it more about the educating, mentor, guidance kind of thing?
So I think it's a little of both for me.
Okay.
And again, I don't work for Instagram or anything, but I'm telling you, Instagram is kind of really been really helpful towards me and my business by posting some stuff, and we've had some nice things reciprocated back our way. Not only meeting great people and stuff, but also manufacturers and trying to get the word out and stuff. And it's been really good and positive. And yes, we've had some people contact us for work, and it's been pretty good. You know, as long as it's in your niche.
To me, it's Instagram's benefited Galaxy Plumbing in two major ways. I would say brand awareness.
Okay.
It's really a lot of brand awareness. And another thing is, I would say before I started Galaxy Plumbing and getting on Instagram, a lot of, like, I'm 43 now, a lot of my friends are the same age as I am, and most of them don't have businesses. And I've met most of my closer friends now through Instagram, like Orst, a bunch of guys, Costa, and these are guys that I consider my friends. These are guys that I look up to. We are exchanging ideas, and I love the fact that they're so much younger than I am. Orst is like 32, 30, and he's into like technology and certain things like ChatGPT. And there's things that both of us are learning from each other.
Yeah.
I have experience of like 25 years. He has experience in this, and they jive. And I would say in those ways it's been beneficial. And just recently we've been on TikTok, and I don't really spend much time on TikTok. Like I said, it's all brand awareness. And I've actually hired our newest apprentice from TikTok.
So you met him through there?
He reached out to me on one of the videos that we did, and he just reached out. And he's like, "Hey, are you hiring?" And I'm like, "Yeah, send me your resume." Send me his resume. I looked through it. He reached out to me a couple times back and forth, and he's awesome.
I love hearing that. Basically, you
he's-
guys are using it to
It's
better your business.
It's a great tool for hiring.
Oh,
Like, can I just say that, like, I can tell you, recently we stepped up our Instagram game where, you know, we hired a guy to basically run it for us, so it's not me doing it part-time. And the resumes that have come onto my desk right now, you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, that's
Really?
great. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My one apprentice, Mick the plumber, we've been talking for like 3 years, and he applied, and then he in the interview he's like, "Yeah, I've been following you for like 3 or 4 years," and I was like, he's like, "We've talked," and I felt bad because I didn't remember talking to
Listen,
him.
how do you remember
Yeah.
thousands of people?
That's what I
Like,
mean.
It's just difficult.
He's one of my best plumbers. And
Yeah.
then the positive thing is if they take passion in their work and they do use social media, you're able to go onto their profile and see what they do.
I want to know from all you gentlemen.
It's a two-way street for sure.
Because obviously from you, Sam, because it's not that I pick on the older guys. I'm an older guy too, right? So it's just like you guys have a wealth of knowledge, right? So I'm very curious on what are your like challenges regarding being a plumber and running a plumbing business, and what was it like back in the 80s and 90s? Same question.
You want me to?
Anybody? Yeah.
Well,
Go
go
on.
Sam.
Yeah, Sam.
So listen, I'll say
Age
right
before
now.
beauty.
The
Well, someone's got to say it, right? Like, it's not me, but that joke's gonna have to come up.
great, it's finally out. We got it out. I was going to say one of the biggest challenges is really just keeping up with the price and cost increases and stuff. So,
Dramatically in the last 2-3 years.
100%. So, you know, you want to, let's just use round numbers. So if material's gone up like 30%, you want to add that on there. That 30% is not coming out of my pocket or the end
Nor
profit
should
from
it.
the job.
Nor should it.
And nor should it.
100%.
And so you try to do what you can to, you know, raise your prices and try to do it. You know, we're in 2023. Things are expensive. Things are a little more expensive than they were 5 years ago. So, you know, it's still one of those times that pricing is a little bit of a challenge, but you try to just remind them that it's a little more expensive. And it's, we're not a .org. We are a for-profit business, and we're going to charge you a fair price, and we're going to collect a profit at the end of it. We don't really want to break even. I'm not doing this to break even. I got better things to do. So what I want to do is I want to do what I like to do and make a small profit for it.
Gentlemen,
I think-
Rob? Oh, I'm sorry. Anybody? Just
Go
jump in.
Go ahead, you go, Aaron.
Yeah.
Our
I Are we
Battle.
on, are we on? Oh, so we're on. Okay, so we're on the topic of like
Just today's challenges,
Yeah,
I
just
guess.
challenges.
And I guess it's
For
really
me.
easy to say that in the last funny 3 years that we've had, right? Obviously, we've seen an uptick on expenses of everything. But, I mean, naturally evolving, inflation was happening before then. So material was getting more expensive. But the thing is, you guys have to face that. And I know in the construction industry, you get a lot of clientele that are going to jab at your labor costs, your operating costs, and all this other stuff, and expecting that you should absorb all this material costs, which is not fair. So I'm curious on how you guys are navigating those conversations. So the challenges of today.
To be honest with you, I think that's an ongoing challenge no matter what for any business, to be honest with you. There's always going to be environments. Environments are always changing, and I think you should be changing with them. And I find it challenging. It's stressful, and it sometimes gets me down. But the more and more I think about it, the more and more it pushes me to want to be better, because I'm thinking, like, what am I missing here? What am I missing? And a lot of the things I'm missing in is communication with the customer. Who are they? How well do I know our customer? Maybe we don't know them at all. And those are the things that it's pushing me to have to learn, where most people don't even think about that. They just think, well, I'll just lower my prices, or I'll just
Yeah,
go,
I know what you mean.
or maybe I'll go quicker, or maybe we just have to push harder. And I look at it more like that. So it is a challenge in that sense. I don't know. In the service game, we used to do a lot more construction. We're going to get more into construction because I have some apprentices now, and I want to make sure that they stay well-rounded, because I want them to be well-rounded. But in the service game, I feel like it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, it's more construction, because you have a lot of the builders and a lot of people. You're not really competing against real skill and quality. You're really competing against who's willing to take less to get more work. And a lot of the time,
Race to the bottom, right?
I think in residential construction, I should say in residential construction.
Well, that's funny, is that your response is all you guys are going to be a cross section, unless you guys want to specify if it's going to be commercial, residential, like
I'm saying more residential
okay.
construction.
All right, Aaron, you had something to say about that regarding today's challenges.
I've grown in the last 4 years. I started by myself, and currently I have 14 employees. So I've grown the
Fantastic.
business quite
Are
fast.
you still surprised that you've gotten your business to that level? Did you think at the very beginning it was ever going to be at that level, planning wise?
No, because so I think the question to be answered right there is to understand your numbers. I think the biggest disconnect in this industry will be the transformation of a tradesman to a person that's going to run a company,
A business
a
person.
business. So
Knowing the data.
And sorry, in the what?
Knowing the data,
Yes.
understanding
Yeah.
the data,
Yes.
being
Yeah.
in the data.
Well, it's also
So-
breaking
so-
the mindset of technician to business owner,
Yes.
which most people never leave.
If you the thing about when I hear about a race to the bottom, or I know what my operating cost is. So, I have a monthly operating cost that sits around about 68,000 a month, typically speaking, right?
A month.
A month. So with that operating cost, I have a certain fixture rate that I have to meet. It's not that I'm trying to undercut someone or charge more. It's just that I know my numbers and I know what I have to charge to stay within my percentage range. So understanding the percentage of the construction industry is one thing you should know coming into this industry. If you're going to be a plumber, you're not going to earn 50%. It's just not going to
Honor
happen.
those days, Gentlemen. You remember, right,
You're
Sam?
not-
Yeah, I'm still showing the loss.
50% for material
you're
and
not-
50% for my wage.
Yeah, look, if you have, your shop, you got all your trucks, everything, your back end, the best companies out there aren't doing 30%. So that's just something that
But 30% is a healthy profit margin.
It's massive.
That's a massive amount.
I would estimate that most companies run at 10%.
At a GC, I was always fighting between 21 to 23. Most
Yeah.
of the time, I was getting 17, 18,
Like
get
if
as low as 10.
Sure,
Wow.
if you look at say these custom home builders and stuff, they're if they're say cost plus, what are they, 10 points?
Yes.
Right. So and look
Yeah,
what
on a
they're
good day.
and look what they're doing.
I know.
So now think as you what you're trying to scale. So in my company, we've broken down the different departments, because we have drain service, we have plumbing service, we have custom home installs, we have commercial installs. They're all different guys.
Yeah.
They're somewhat the same guys, but they're typically guys chasing a different career. So the profit percentages within those different parts of the plumbing industry can vary, right? So
100%.
I think if you know your numbers and you understand what your operating cost is, you can earn the same percentage of profit whether you charge 800 a fixture or 1400 a fixture. But if you can't run a profit and loss at the end of a job, you won't scale a company.
So how do you guys handle that? Because obviously you guys are at the top of your game regarding skill set, and you guys know when you come onto a job site, you know exactly how it begins, you know the middle of it, and you know the end of that cycle. But how do you guys sit there and go, I'm spending the Saturday, I'm spending the Sunday? How are you sitting down to actually do that profit loss on your company and do it fairly and honestly? Look at yourself in the mirror and go, this is what my company is facing right now. How do you guys do
You got to break it down per job. I would say,
Where do you
especially-
find the time to do that? You're already working 5
I mean,
days.
I got an
Well,
Excel sheet. Like I have a master Excel sheet a tracker, and I understand what I need to hit margin wise for per month, and then I put everything into my Excel sheet that breaks everything down. What I charge out, what my senior tech is worth, what I'm paying for him with insurance and everything. And then a junior tech as well. And I break it down and make sure that my margins are there. And then, I'll go a little bit above. Like I'll try and get a job at
just
higher.
in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if a customer comes back to me and goes, can we go somewhere with this? I know where my room is. I understand where my room is because I break everything down. And I have a really good guy in the office that does that for me and understands Excel, so I can make my job easier.
So, and that's great, Adam. That's awesome to have something like that. And I'm just going to say that for me, it's almost the complete opposite. I don't really have too much tech stuff that what we do. How do I learn and compensate for some of the things? Is like you said, where do you find the time to do it? On a Saturday or Sunday? I don't even have the time. I got stuff to do. So what I do
Do you
is
hire? Do you outsource?
no, man. I try to examine what we're doing, and then what I try to do is I try to refine it, like I do every day of my life. I try to refine it and just get a little better. And that's what I was saying. You're learning every day and stuff. So now we're at the point where, yes, I have my 3 sons that I work with. So now I look at what we do and how we do these houses and stuff, and then we try to refine from it. Each job is a learning experience, so sometimes we'll go to another job and we'll just kind of ace it because it was like the other one. We knew what we did. We knew the steps. We followed through. We executed really fast, got the job done in the schedule. We made some profit. Sometimes that doesn't happen. There's always challenges and stuff like that. I wish I could break it down, but I don't. I try to learn every day.
This isn't real life. This is the construction life. You don't need to put your
No,
hand up.
I just don't.
Just talk, man. The cameras will find you. Just talk.
I don't really want to. I don't really want to cut Sam off because it's easy
No,
for me to cut
totally.
off.
We'll apologize to everybody. We'll cut
Chuck
people
each
off
other
because
out.
we want to
Okay.
just get this
I
information.
get really excited, and usually I'll just jump right in, just talk over
I was
everybody.
a shy kid too in school, man. I was always quiet.
No, I'm not shy
No,
whatsoever.
I
I'm just
know.
being respectful
Shy.
to the man, Sam. But I think what I wanted to say was that I think it depends on where you're at in your journey of business, and you have to. I think you have to look at where do you want to go and where you're at in your journey. Like right now, to be honest with you, my numbers, I review them with my assistant Xenia, and we look at them, we break them down, and we look at where we're at, right? So I don't do them a lot by myself anymore because I don't really have time to, and I don't think it's the best way to spend my time every day. We do it weekly, monthly. When I first started Galaxy and I was doing only custom homes, construction-based projects, if you're at that point in your journey and it's just you or you and somebody else, what I used to do is I had a folder for every job that I started. It was marked, labeled. Every sheet that I ordered material was tagged to that job. I wrote down the hours and I broke it all down to every single job had its own folder, and I would review it by myself. And sometimes I'd bring it to somebody else and we would review it together and we would break down the numbers. And I knew what I was charging, I was killing the game.
Can I say that being the only non-plumber here, if you don't grab this by the balls and handle this properly,
No.
your business is never going to grow?
Well, you'll never have a business.
Yeah.
You might
Yeah,
grow
for
it in
sure.
the wrong direction.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Because the biggest question people always ask me, how do you not want to hire? Right? So like this shit, like I'm trying to hire 3 guys at the moment, like and like it will be what I was always taught was that you should have at least 3 to 4 months of your operating cost of your business behind you.
It's true.
So you know, like the way I would strategize is that I wouldn't pay myself outside my salary. I'm an employee of the company, right?
That's the best thing that you should do, right?
Yeah. So I gain a modest salary. There is guys in my company that are paid more. There is guys in my company that do more, right? I don't want to be the guy in my company that does the most. I want to run the company. I don't want to be the guy doing everything in the company. So therefore, it makes sense at this stage to pay somebody more that's more experienced, more qualified to do the work than I am.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Which in turn makes my life easier, right?
Any thoughts, Adam?
I mean, I'm in a weird situation with Aurelia Group right now. Is I just lost 3 guys. Not lost. One guy moved
know
on.
where they are.
Yeah, I know where they are. But they just, one guy left. A licensed guy went to start his own business. He was happier being his own boss than being where we're at. And it's just
Was it left on good terms?
Oh, great terms.
Right, beautiful.
I'll still
I like
use
hearing
him.
that.
If I still use it, we'll still use him for stuff when we're overwhelmed and we don't have enough stuff. We'll GC him out. But and then I lost a first year apprentice, and I just lost a 3rd year apprentice. And
For the first and the third,
yeah. That the first I was fine with because I can find another first year. The 3rd year was a little bit more value to me. It hurt, but
he was with you for how long?
the entire time, 3 years.
The entire time.
He went over to Guest actually, which I'm fine with Dan Guest. I think he's going to learn
They've
whatever.
been on the show?
Yeah, I listen to Dan's actually, and I respect Dan. I respect Brandon, and honestly, doors open. I'm happy he went, but the last 3 days for me has been one of a few days where I'm like, take it back, and it's almost a blessing because I felt that we grew too fast, too big, too fast, and I was out there looking for work just to keep my guys busy, which was bringing quality of work down, which was bringing my costs down.
Comes in, right, in a business that you just keep feeding the guys, but you're forgetting to feed the business.
Yeah, and so right now I'm at 4 guys. I'm happy. I'm going to start focusing on quality, slowing the jobs down, and if customers don't like my pricing when it comes down to it, I know where my quality's at. And there's always another customer.
Let's talk the S word, guys. I don't know how many times this conversation comes up in your trade or with clients or whatever, but sustainability. I actually want to have 2 sides to that, sustainability, but also where all the new tech is going, because plumbing has been bombarded with a bunch of tech. And how do you guys feel about that? Because no longer, gone are the days of just a valve, water, supply to a head, maybe a toe tester. Now it's a valve that is computerized, that has all kinds of components and modules, and basically it's got 2 eyes on it, right? So how are we feeling about that whole tech side of the world and the sustainability side of the world? Because everybody, on Thomas's show, I joked about it. All the clients are asking for low flush toilets and low flow faucets and everything, but then give me 15,000 heads in the shower. And I want to control it from my phone while I'm in my car while I'm driving.
Yeah, and those showers, we don't call them a shower, we call them a car wash when you want 6 heads inside of there.
And they don't want to pay for it.
I'm guilty of having, I got 11 myself and I enjoy it. But
Yeah.
You want to drown in the shower?
It just brings up like the people doing the work has to be more skilled. They have to understand it.
100%.
They have to understand more than
Yes.
just hot and cold. Drain, like shit goes downhill.
Yes.
They need to know more than that. And what a lot of people don't understand, the joke that I hate is they're like, oh, shit rolls downhill. I'm like, you have no idea how deep plumbing is. like I go into a mechanical room and like I'm trained in industrial plumbing. Like I can rip a pump apart and replace a seal. But you put me in a custom home, like the stuff that Sam does, I'm lost. I don't do drainage.
Aaron's got something.
Yeah.
Earlier on, we were saying about that book, Extreme Ownership. And,
Yes.
you know, again, I think if you're going to try and scale a company and grow a company, I was in that harder day where you're dragged through your apprentice and the guy says, watch out to do this. And he turns around and he does it. And he's like, see that? And I'm like, yeah, well, like, of course, like, all right. You know what I mean? Like, but that's the way it was. Like, you know, like it just was. They weren't forthcoming and showing you what was going on. But now Instagram, all of these tools, you know, we got companies knocking on the door every day. Come to this training. Come to this training. Like,
There's so much training now, right?
Yeah, there is, and that's
You
great.
know,
But how's that service world attached to that? With Dahl, you receive a lifetime of reliability, not only in the product they make, but in the service they provide. From the design to manufacturing to technical support, with Dahl, you don't just get a great product, you get a team of expertise. Join the thousands of satisfied Dahl customers and experience the Dahl difference. As a GC, I can confidently say that Dahl means receiving a lifetime reliability. It's not just about the exceptional products they manufacture, but also the outstanding service they provide every step of the way. From the initial design phase to the meticulous manufacturing process, Dahl demonstrates their commitment to excellence. Everyone knows I respect care in construction. So check out Dahl at www.dahlvalve.com and check them out on social at Dahl Valve.
Well, I'm sorry to come back.
Yeah, sorry, go
like Aaron does training every other Friday with your guys, like lesson training.
Yeah, like about a year and a half ago, we hired a previous teacher from Mohawk College who, he's a well-known guy. His name's Warren Hyatt. He's well respected in the industry. So he's been teaching, at my shop. So I run 2 classes. We run hydronics, because we're pushing into that industry, radiant heat,
Yep.
And also we do code compliancy for the guys. Typically, like what we would do with the code compliancy is that we want to guarantee any apprentice that comes to expert plumbing that we'll get them through their schooling first time. It's a pretty bold guarantee, but we haven't had a guy fail yet, so...
He last time I was with him, he literally said, he goes, if any of your guys want to come to training and you want to pay for them to come do training at my shop, more than welcome.
Like, we got a guy doing a test, and what we will do is that week coming up to his test, he'll be paid for in-house lessons with a private tutor for 2 hours each morning to the day of his test.
But you're seeing the value attached to that.
Well, these guys are running jobs, and I have to.
So it's worth it.
100%. It's an investment, right? Mm-hmm. And I understand guys leave and move on and open their own companies and do all the rest. But if you come into it with that mindset, like you said, if you leave and you shake hands and the guy can do a bit of work for you,
that's great.
Well, what else can you do?
It's a collaborative thing because,
my apprentice, one of my apprentices was just in school with one of his guys, and he was like, expert plumbing trained guy was just flying through stuff, like just flying through it, and then halfway through the guy just disappeared. They were like, nobody knew why he was there. They took him out and put him right into the advanced course from first year to advanced because he knew too much.
Wow.
And that's his
awesome.
guy. That's the guys he's training, and that's why I respect him so much because of what he's doing with his company. It's just
we're just coming at it
it's
like
crazy.
From like if I really want to scale this company, the way I'm seeing it is like, what can I offer that the competition's not offering?
So you're obviously reading these kids, because we'll call them kids for lack of a better word. Yeah. You're reading them right. You're understanding their strengths and their weaknesses, and you're getting a grasp of who they potentially might become. 100%. And then throwing them into the class, not throwing them, but bringing them, inviting them into the class, and then going, here, 100%. we're gonna get you to the Top Gun of plumbing, right?
Yeah, and like we wouldn't cap their wages. We don't, stand in the way of their ability. We'll pay for their backflow courses if they want.
Wow,
anything that really assists in their career, that the chances there that they might stick with me.
And they would.
Well, the loyalty is there. The loyalty is now there for them because they feel these guys are treating me well.
What else are they going to teach me?
Yeah, where am I going?
How was it for you, Sam? How is it for you now with this whole luxury and all kinds of stuff? I mean, you've grown up from valves. Straightforward, either was 1/2 inch to 3/4, and now to the bells and whistles of today.
Absolutely. So we started off with the Moen. If somebody said they wanted a shower, you knew the price of how much that's going to cost. So you're going to get a Moen center shower with one head. That's it. There's no slide bar. It's not a couple of heads and stuff. But now the industry's changed so much that you really want to educate the kids and stuff too. And so through Aaron, I actually acquired the same teacher, Warren. He teaches at our shop as well, and we do it. We were doing every Tuesdays and stuff, but now we started to go bi-monthly because it's been so busy. But it's an investment to teach these kids. We're pushing for the hydronic industry because there's so much out there. And it's not so much that, of course I want a piece of the pie, I want to do it and stuff. But the problem, the issue that I was having is that we don't know it from the basics. And almost every house is having it. Somebody's got to service this stuff in 10 years from now.
Yep.
I want to be able to help my customers and be able to know it. So what better to find a retired teacher to teach us right from the basics of how it all started and going through there. And we do that. It's 2 hours a day, and we do that schooling with them. And so it works out great. And I'm in it too. I've got to learn it too. So I want to understand it. I've got to sell it. I've got to communicate it. And let's face it, knowledge is only through communication. Once you have that, then you can make the right decision.
I think that's massive for someone that's been in the trade for as long as you have, and you still sit here and say, I still have things to learn, because a lot of people your age be like, I've seen it all, I've done it all. It's
Yeah,
all
but
good.
that's because he has his own business, and also that's also based on the individual themselves. There's
Yeah.
lots of small business owners that are stuck in a certain mindset, and they'll never get out of it. So, Sam, you're obviously a really open-minded person, always willing to know. You're humble, and that comes through, right? Because if you weren't,
Absolutely.
you wouldn't be talking like that. And
Absolutely. I mean, I've
Yeah.
talked to people all across the world in the plumbing industry, and sometimes they get questions and stuff, and I got no problem to answer the questions for them and guide them to some suggestions, and they can decide from there. But that's key.
So let's look at a coin here. How do we attract more people into the trades? Not specifically just plumbing, but just general trade. This is a common theme, and one of the things that I remember on Dan's show is he was always open, regardless if someone came in and it didn't work out and they left, he wasn't bitter about it. Which I thought was a really valuable way of looking at it, right? Because there's always a concern when I've spoken to so many people on this show or even on job sites. Their concern is, I have a business, I'm operating it. I bring somebody new, I teach them a bunch, they stay a few years, then they leave. And all of a sudden it's like, I wasted my time. And Dan's opinion wasn't that way. His perspective wasn't that way. I wasn't wasting my time.
That's because I would imagine that Dan can put a number on it.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, back to knowing your numbers again, is that what is the definition of wasting your time? Except for the growing pains of having, a co-op student or a guy that's with you for the first 8 months. After that, these guys are somewhat making money.
Yes.
If they're not, you probably have them in the wrong position, because, for the most part, if you're willing to give the guys direction, they can follow it. And at that stage, they're not taking big wages neither. So, as long as you strategize right and you're putting the guy to good use, it's not going to be a waste of time, in my opinion.
You're still cost analyzing this situation.
Yeah.
You have to be in the back of your head, or whether it's on a piece of paper.
Totally. 100%. If you're investing in somebody, you should see, is this the right investment for, I try and do things by removing my emotions from Galaxy Plumbing. I always think what is best for Galaxy Plumbing?
That's difficult. I mean, you're
It is.
Italian and you're in construction.
It's very difficult. So I always try, and if I'm going to make a real decision, I'm always like, remove my emotions from it. It's like, okay, what's the best decision for Galaxy Plumbing right now, whether I believe it is or not? What makes the most sense? And I try and look at it like that. So
How do we attract more kids into this industry?
I think we're doing it with social media.
I think so too.
I think
Yeah.
we're educating
the ratio.
I think we're the ratio. Yeah, the ratio in plumbing 1 and 1 is just.
I also
it's
think
so tough.
Well, it's
I
something
also
that we want to battle, and I'll talk about that maybe on this show, but it's ridiculous why they're tying your hands.
Yep.
When we're multitaskers now, are we not? If you're in construction, you can juggle a bunch of things. You got more than just a hammer on your tool belt.
Yeah.
So why do we get stuck? That's a different world. I mean, that's going to be a whole show on its own sometimes, right? That ratio is ridiculous. I disagree
Yeah,
with
the
it.
1-to-1.
I
It's gotta
disagree
go.
with it completely.
But I think this kind of stuff, and the fact that we're not looking at each other as competition anymore,
Never.
and that everybody is out to help everyone, I think that's attracting people to trades, showing that it's not like this old man going to be throwing fittings at you. I got welcomed to the trade by throwing PVC glue on my arms and some sand and said, "Welcome to plumbing."
Wow. That's what he said, eh?
Yeah, he poured it all over my arms and then threw sand on it.
Well,
and
you're
then
Irish,
welcome
so you don't have
to
that much hair on your
Yeah,
arms.
no, not that much.
If it was me or him, that'd be a different story.
I got a good welcome for you. I used to be a pipe fitter, right? So I'm working on this hotel, and me and this guy are working in an underground car park. And I mean, it's like a wind tunnel, right? So he's welding 3-inch elbows onto lengths of steel pipe. They're like 20-foot lengths. And I'm standing on the other end of the bench, twisting pipe. And I got my hands in my pocket. And the next day I came in, I wear earphones, listening to music, because I'm not doing anything. So this guy is in tune and I'm not watching. And he bends down and he heats up an elbow with an acetylene torch. Right?
Oh my gosh.
I'm listening to my earphones, not paying attention. And then I turn around to this guy screaming at me, screaming, "What are you doing? Take the earphones out. Pick up that fitting."
No.
I kid you not. When I grabbed that fitting, my skin was smoldering on the steel.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not kidding you, right? I didn't know whether to cry, fight the guy. run home. I was like 18 years of age.
Only in Ireland.
Only in Ireland, right? I had no
it's a bit
clue. I had
extreme.
no clue what to do. Like, you know,
man.
and the
Because
guy,
you never thought that would happen.
no, you don't. But in all honesty, like, you know, this is what we're saying is that the trades aren't today of what they are. Like, you know, when guys come back to me and they have problems, like, we sit down and we try and problem solve them. We don't belittle them, or we don't kind of, you know,
But
say,
guys, I also think we got to think about, where did these people come from? Like, we didn't grow up in a post-World War where, like, so we're starting to see modern day life, and you're getting to see how it's become easier in so many ways. We didn't grow up where our grandparents or our parents' grandparents came back from World War II, and they had a certain, like, they were stunned. And that's how they grew up with that. So everything became scarcity mindset, where now we're more educated, we've been around, things have evolved.
You know what? I didn't think about that, because the guy that I didn't like working with, he came from communist Romania and had to sneak out of his country.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And that's the guy I didn't get along with. But I've used that. Like, I've used all the things he said to me in the first company I worked for, as ammunition to get to where I am now.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I
think it depends on how you view it and what you want and what your goals are. Like, I was treated like absolute shit where I came from, because I was the guy who wanted to learn. And I was like, teach me this. And like, buddy, go pick up extension cords, you know, like.
But I'll be the first one. I get it. It was a lot harder, you know, like.
No, it was way harder. We could never imagine.
But today we have our own problems too, right?
Like what?
There's no, I know, but I'm.
Overconsumption?
No, it's not. Maybe it's overconsumption, but also you're fighting numbers. Like, you got to kind of feel a little bit for a kid wanting to buy a house today, and you got tradespeople that are working 6-7 days a week just to get that deposit for a house that they're going to buy that's going to be 10 times the cost of what it was for their parents. And so you're getting relationships falling apart. You're getting all kinds of other hardships.
It's always
Stress.
It's always it's always.
So every generation. I'm not defending. I'm just saying every generation has their own problems, and you can have the worst thing going on in your life, and it's how you react to it. Attitude is what? Like,
I think it's hustle. To be honest with you, every generation's had it, and I think like where I grew up with, people now sometimes, I don't know. I don't want to generalize, so I'm not going to generalize. I think when it comes to getting anything, you have to make sacrifices.
Yes.
And that's going to determine, you're making micro decisions every second. And it's like, do I take on a side job? Do I not buy that high performance car that I want?
But go back to your beginning. Everybody talking about cost analysis, right?
Yeah, cost analysis.
You have to figure out, is it worth it? Is it going to make sense? So if you can keep your thought, Aaron, I just wanted to ask Sam, I wanted to go on the flip side, getting out of the industry. I'm always fascinated about the older trades wanting to get out of the industry, or how they're going to plan that, because bottom line is, everybody here at the table is entrepreneur. There is no pension for us from the government. Don't expect it. Doesn't matter who you are or where you came from. Yeah. So you better be building your own nest egg. So you better work hard, but hopefully you've saved. I don't want to interrupt you. Like, if you had a thought about that before we get into that, because I'm curious about trades getting out and what they're planning for retirement.
Trying to make that plan too.
I don't expect I'm going to retire at all. I think when you retire, you die. I'll just keep working, just slow down a little bit.
So there's different versions of retirement when it comes to construction. When I say, like you said, Sam, earlier, you could be a mentor and teach people. So you can come in and educate, and you could probably partner with a business that you've worked with or for and go, listen, I'll come in and I'll basically put everybody into shape. Mm-hmm. I'll get them. So you could still do it as a kind of an exit way out, but you're still making money. Don't throw on the orange apron and go there and just tell people to go down aisle 15, right?
Yeah,
I'm
right.
Just saying,
I mean, all the years of experience, you're going to carry it with you wherever you've got it.
There's no reason you can carry it to the grave and leave it there. There's every reason that you should be sharing it.
100%. And that's why when you were talking about something earlier, getting the word out and stuff like that, I've went to a couple of what's really good to get the word out is career fairs, or whatever they call them in high school. And I've gone to about 3 high schools to talk. I was the plumber, obviously, and you had, your police officer, an engineer, flight attendant, whatever, and a few of us. And the kids would walk around and do that 10-minute, listen to the little spiel. I'd bring some tools, let them try it out and stuff. And you see the kids when they would, just do some putting some pipes together, just crimping them. Obviously, we're not bringing copper and letting them solder with torches and stuff like that, because I had to keep it safe. And it's nice to let them see that. That's really important.
ProPress.
Yeah, ProPress.
Let them ProPress.
Listen, I love ProPress. I just don't love the invoice that's attached to ProPress.
I do. Save on labor.
Press your profit away is what we say.
Yeah, ProPress is sick, man.
So you guys are the younger gen, and all of a sudden, how are you guys, your exit plan? Like, how are you guys thinking about that nest egg at the end?
I plan to build another business after this business, and I plan not to retire or have a different version of retirement. I don't plan on retirement in a sense of I want to get off the tools, and to be quite honest with you, I don't really want to be a plumber anymore. I don't want to be a plumber anymore. The one thing I like about getting back to Instagram quickly is one thing that gives me great satisfaction at this point where I'm at is not doing plumbing. I still like to challenge myself. That's why if you give me the most craziest job, it stresses me out. I love it because I'm like, how good am I really?
Do you like the training part of plumbing? Yeah?
Yeah, I just like pushing myself to learn to be better because I never wanted to just be a plumber. It's like, oh, you're a plumber. It's like I wanted to say I have a certification, I know plumbing, and I'm well-rounded. You put me in a mechanical room, I could figure it out. You're like, Rob, I need you to cut out and lay out a 3,000 square foot house with this. No problem, I'll do that. You get me in a material where there's steel, copper, this happening. I'm like, okay, I could figure it out.
Problem solving.
Yeah, problem solving. I think that's probably the most funnest part for me is problem solving.
I mean, I've been in the trade like shorter than anyone here. I've been in it for 8 years. I feel like I just got licensed, and I'm already off the tools. Like I'm on the tools on stuff.
Yeah,
but I'm running a business, and you know what? I enjoy training. I enjoy being a mentor to kids. I enjoy seeing the passion that comes from them when they solve something and they're like, oh, I feel good. And I remember when I did that for the first time.
A lot of kids are intimidated though, right?
Well, the first year, the greenhorn I had, he was like, you know, smoking his vape and being on his phone in the car and stuff. And some of the guys, the veteran guys came up to me and they said like, listen, man, I don't want to teach this guy. He seems like he doesn't care. I had to pull him aside and be like, listen, you have to ask questions. You have to have a passion. Like, is this what you want to do for the rest of your life? You're 19. Like, if you don't, that's fine. But, like, I need to know if this is something that you're interested in. And then as soon as I said that to him, everything changed.
Really?
Yeah, he was like, you're right. Like, I need to think about my career. And
that's what I like at this point, too, is that's why I like Instagram. That kind of pushes me to teach. I like teaching through Instagram. That's why I do a lot of stories and posts. And I feel like a lot of guys message me like, oh, that's cool. And that's what I really get at this point of plumbing. I really like getting into these intricate jobs that are really difficult, problem solving, and be like, hey, this is what I did. This is what we did here. This is what to look for. This is what you should be looking at. And I feel like whoever's watching that, they're learning. And those are the things that it's good to learn plumbing, like they're talking about roughing and learning how to do a back vent, a fixture. And that's great and all. But plumbing is so big that it's like problem solving is one of the big parts of plumbing that is so hard because you're faced with these emergencies or generally shit's happening. You're like, what do I do here? And it's like, do I hook this up like that? And it's high stress. To roughen to roughen a plumbing fixture, it's like, once I show you a fixture needs a back vent or how to do like you can get it. It's like pretty well a puzzle. But when you're like in a high stress situation and you're like water needs to be turned on, this is happening.
That's normal.
We do water main breaks. We'll show up to a complex, shut like 600 houses down. There'll be a crack in the road, like a void in it. We'll bring in a dig crew and we'll say, right, bring in a leak detection guy. This guy will take out witching rods. And you're like,
I've seen it.
Now
I've
here,
seen
like,
it.
I'm not going
And
to
I
say,
love it.
I'm
And I
telling
love
you,
it.
yeah, right. So like, that's a matter of debate altogether. But all I'm saying is I've seen it work. So whatever,
does.
right?
Me too.
I'm not questioning. If he brings out the chicken bones and starts doing a seance, that's a whole other
Now he
thing,
doesn't
man.
start that way. He'll
I
start with
don't need a tin
the
drum to
equipment.
come out and then the chicken bones go
Yeah,
on it. I
right.
don't need that voodoo going on. Sam, how are your boys taking out the industry? How are they? Are they absorbing it really well?
Well, the best thing I can say is I'm very lucky. The boys are taking it on really well, and we're doing well of what we need to be doing. And you know that whole thing about the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It's kind of true, but they're their own. Everybody's their own kind of thing, and so how they're grasping it is really good. I'm actually learning from them newer tools. My oldest Tyler is
Tyler's the man.
You know,
He's awesome.
he's pulled out, you know, I use these crappy pliers for like 30, 20
But they
years
work.
of it.
Channel
They
locks.
work, and I still use it. But now we've gone to
Blue handles go to red handles.
yeah,
We could call it out.
yeah, we can call out colors here, you know. But you know what? I really learned a lot of the stuff from that, and there's so many extra benefits that have come from now since before and stuff, and I learned from them, and so it's nice to see them have that passion. All you can do is tell them to do it imperfect, you know, do it as best you can and learn from it, and then you watch. Time will tell. You know, practice makes perfect. All that stuff that sounds cliche, it's really true.
Am I fair to say everybody's red here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes,
Team
sir.
red for sure.
All right, but I just want to make sure I've got my argument from
no,
the show.
I'm waiting on Rothenberger.
on
Rothenberger
that-
is supposed to be sending me some stuff.
On that
Okay.
topic, though, about Team Red and tools like Sam, you were saying, one thing I will say about learning under old school dudes and older generation, I would say is that I learned when we were doing like more residential jobs, when you work for these big companies, you would think big companies, union companies, you get all these fancy tools and they gave you nothing. You had nothing. You had a pair of pliers, a whole hog drill. There's 1 2-inch auger bit, and it's like after that thing goes dull,
Auger
you
bit.
want a sharpen and you file it yourself.
There's the file.
Buddy, this guy can file bits. You can't believe. A newer generation would be like, bro, I need another bit. It's like, no, you need a file. Like, you need the
100%, yeah.
I'm not saying about like abuse your guys and not give them equipment and make them successful. But hey, like you're not going to get a set of $50, $60 new bits every time you drill 3 holes and you smoke a nail. And also my toolbox, like I tell Nicholas all the time, see the tools we have? I'm not like on Instagram where everyone's a Milwaukee like tool influencer. My tool needs to do maybe 2-3 jobs. Like I don't have a tool for every single job. It's like, how big is your van? How many tools do you need? Like
Trailer.
Yeah, but it's like,
Top
do
of
you?
the trailer.
Like,
I'm actually going to the metal supermarket tomorrow because I need to build another shelf. I found a spot.
yeah, but it's like, how many tools do you really
Found a
like?
spot.
Come on,
I found a spot in my truck.
Like maybe if
story.
you're a general, a GC, like you need a lot of tools. You're doing fine carpentry. You're drilling tiles.
Not if I'm subbing it out to you
yeah,
guys.
but there's no 100%. But there's always fine.
I
things
learned that late.
Yeah.
Sub everything out, Sub City.
I want to talk about a fun topic, building code.
Oh, wow.
What's that?
I want to, yeah, exactly. I want to talk yay or nay on heat recovery stack.
Nay.
Never done
Nay?
one.
Did the
Did it in-
calculations.
Nay.
It's a 10. It's
Never
a
done it.
10-year return.
I think it's actually even higher than that, really.
You think so?
Yeah.
So am I
you know,
hearing
it depends
nay,
how many
nay,
kids
nay,
you've got
nay?
in the house.
I've to be honest, I'm a service guy through and through. I never really put one in.
Well,
I looked at them in
all
school.
new construction. It's all
Yeah.
heat
It's
recovery.
code.
It's
code.
code, and I thought it was actually leaving the code. But I mean, how do you guys navigate the world of code? Because you have to deal with
You ask
inspectors
the
all the
inspectors.
time.
That's the only thing you can do.
But now it's almost like the inspectors are sometimes it's at their discretion, not the code's discretion.
Yeah.
It's
So
how
I'm
they
thi-
describe,
Or how they interpret it.
Yeah,
Okay.
interpret it.
So
Yeah.
this is what we run into because I work from Niagara to Toronto, and we do big projects, small projects. We're not, so we're seeing it across the board from commercial to the plumbing end of things, the residential. And typically now we just talk with the inspectors. But when we really run into a problem, what we do is we say to them, this is the way we've plumbed it according to the code of our understanding. If you would like anything above and beyond, we will write a change order from you. We will give you an estimate based on it, and we would like you to present that to the homeowner because somebody has to pay for it. Typically, when that happens, they have to ask the next person up in the scale because the homeowner stops and says, "What? Like, are you saying you did what you had to do, and now I have to pay more?" So I put it in their hands. I say, now it's a battle between you and the inspector for me to do anything above and beyond the code, right? It typically pisses them off, like just saying, but somebody has to pay for the change.
Of course.
I like we did a Aplex in Brampton there. We just finished it a couple of weeks ago. We had all of our floor drains back vented, right? One vent, all our floor drains in the basement. They had a couple of different mechanical rooms, right? The inspector comes along and says, you can't do that. I says, like, how? He says, I want to see each one of these floor drains individually vented. I said, well, why is that? He said,
Where's that in the code?
He said, well, somebody could tie into that 3-inch pipe, and this is Brampton. This is what we call the Wild West. That's what he said to me. And he was like, so you can't have a big pipe that somebody ties in?
Okay, but the OBC.
They could dry into any pipe.
The,
Like, what are you saying?
so the OBC, the O in OBC is for Ontario,
Right.
not for Brampton. It's not BBC.
You know, so,
That's
so,
right.
in his mind, it is BBC.
so we write up
That's
an
a
estimate.
channel from where you're from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. we write the estimate, we bring it back, we present it to the homeowner, and obviously they don't like it. And he comes back with a supervisor, and the conclusion was that we had to paint the pipe orange.
No.
That was his solution or his supervisor's
The
solution?
supervisor was his solution.
Who got to
was-
pick the color orange?
Yeah, what's orange?
It can't be yellow.
It's ammonia.
How about
orange is
green?
ammonia? Orange is ammonia, so don't cut into the ammonia pipe in the ground in your house.
Generally,
Touch
Really?
the floor drain.
But this is what you're dealing with,
yeah.
though, right?
But the thing is,
Well, that's what I mean. It's like it's at the discretion of
Yeah,
the
it's-
inspector, and I don't
it-
think that's fair. I think that if the code is there and it's written and they've done it, and even though it's outdated and it's behind the national code,
But there's a lot of gray areas in the code. There's certain gray areas. I guess I'm just saying there's certain gray areas. And some inspectors, a lot of inspectors are not that educated. They haven't been plumbers for
I'm
20
not knocking inspectors,
No,
but
no.
you write a test and you're an inspector.
Yeah.
Well, okay. In theory,
Are you going to tell me what
Yeah.
to do? You're an inspector. You looked at the code book for 3 months, and then you're
or
telling
you
me what to
studied
do.
it.
Yeah.
You studied the code book, and
Sorry,
Yeah.
Aaron's got.
Oh, sorry, I was just
No.
thinking in my head.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Sorry.
But how
What'd you guys do?
I mean, like Sam, you've seen the code change so many times. Like there's things that you did in the late '80s, early '90s that are not applicable now to the code, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
for sure.
the craziest part is multi-story wet venting.
Yeah, things like that. Back in the day, we had to vent everything.
Everything.
It was all overloaded
For-
and stuff. It didn't even. It was just like it was just too much.
Two
and stuff like
toilets, 2-inch automatically.
Yeah.
Now it's like an inch and a half could go around the house and pick up 20 fixtures.
that. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Vents in theory don't have to slope; they just technically have to drain.
Well, they're level as long as they can
Right.
go
That's
somewhere.
the
But-
interpretation.
Yeah, technically.
but back in the day,
Technically.
we'd run them the same as we'd run the slope on a drain.
So you put a slope on it.
Yeah, so now, like when we're venting, as long as we relieve the vent back into a drain,
Yeah.
and that's not like on a
Technically, it's level.
yeah, you
Technically, it's level.
So you can go up, down, across, up and around, down. As long as you make a vent.
No, you need drain ports. You need drain. Yeah, areas for it to drain.
Yeah,
Condensation.
So we've often run into scenarios where we come under a staircase or something,
Or a beam.
or a beam.
Yeah.
and you just drop it down so you can relieve the vent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But those are,
absolutely.
but,
You know what?
those are.
hang on.
Oh, sorry.
So those are the things that we have to follow for sure. I mean, you got condensation that you said, but you also have rainwater that's going through. So in Ontario, we have 3-inch vent terminals, but in BC, they don't need 3-inch. They're only 2-inch because they don't have that much snow. So
Well,
they can't
yeah,
dry it
frost.
off.
Well,
What's it called?
Permafrost.
Permafrost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thermofrost, right? But I'm understanding actually we're pretty close to the national building code's going to be amalgamated into the Ontario building code. They're working on the entire country to be on one code system.
I
Well,
did.
the code book is
I
the code
did
book is
hear about
national.
that.
The Red Seal exam is national code.
Yeah, now it is.
You learn
so
Ontario
you're being
code.
trained on the national,
on the
but then you're
Ontario
being
code.
forced to work on the on.
I ran
provincial.
into
That's
it at
correct,
Pearson
yeah.
Airport. I did a job at Pearson Airport, and we ran into that was national code.
It's a different location.
Or federal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so the moment you involve federal, it's a different story.
Yeah, so they work off.
I've heard of that
National
too.
code.
the
book.
national code
Yes.
book, right? So they like if you were doing a washroom group out there, you could run a double TY on its back, like where you could or double Y on its back, right? Where you can't do that in air code book. They have to be individual Ys, right? You can run a
Yeah,
double
modified
Y.
stack vent.
So, PEX copper. Sam, you're an age of copper.
Yeah, age of
Introduced to
copper.
PEX.
And I'll pick PEX any day.
Really?
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
work with.
Yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
it's just the cost. The copper is really expensive these days. I don't know what it works out to, but it's like
It's like $35 a length for probably M.
even if you go linear
I don't
foot.
even even know what M is.
Yeah.
I don't use M.
Yeah.
Type L for everything.
Yeah.
The big problem with the PEX is the friction loss.
Yeah.
Massive. On
I get
friction
into the dislike for me is the flow rate.
Yeah, and so I was just going to say, with the copper, you're at a linear foot is probably what $1.90 or maybe even more than that, and a linear foot of PEX, I think I'm paying like 28 cents. So there's your difference right there. But because of that difference, is what you just brought up is flow rate. You just increase the pipe. I'm putting 3/4 pipe through all over through the house.
Everything.
Oh,
so
yeah.
regular
Right up to
fixtures
this-
are getting 3/4.
Well, no, the 3/4 mains are going right up to the second floor. My branches are probably 5 feet. Everything's being taken off.
Well, that's
at
the nice thing
3/4.
about PEX or any kind of
Right, the cost is lower, so you can give the people more
Full
volume,
runs.
not more pressure. Whatever pressure is coming in from the street, that's what they've got. But you can give them more volume, and that will compensate for that.
And don't forget, in the PEX industry, there's 2 different types. You're going to have
Yep.
cold expansion
Yes.
or crimp ring, right?
Yes.
If you are crimp ring, the sizes aren't true. So when you see 1/2 inch, you're 3/8. When you see 3/4, you're 1/2 inch. When you see inch, you're 3/4.
Yeah, so cold expansion is better. You're going to get more of a volume, right? If you get a 1/2 inch fitting on cold expansion, it's looking like a 3/4 on a crimp fitting.
mixing valve on the hot water tank.
Essential.
Mine's off. It's
What
essential.
What
but
the hell is that crap?
They break
man?
every 24 months.
Well, so is it something that's in the code that was specifically designed to give plumbers a service call?
Well, I mean,
It's just to stop prevent scalding.
Yeah.
Well, I think someone.
Okay, but hang on. a
everybody
sec.
wants to sue someone.
My
Yeah.
my argument is like Sam,
instant.
you look at it.
It's instant.
How many thermostatic valves do you install in showers?
Almost all of them are thermostatic.
So a
valves.
thermostatic valve is doing what the mixing valve is doing without wasting the energy. And I could fight the algae argument about hot water tanks regarding you have to kill this algae. That's why you have to get it at a certain height.
Legionnaire's
So-
disease,
Exactly.
140 degrees.
Yeah, all
has to be
that
above 140 degrees.
So now you have to waste energy, but I go back to sustainability over and over. It's like you've designed something to get sustainable, but you're designed it originally to get to a certain temperature, and then you cool it down, you waste the energy. So it's like, what are you saving the planet? You're not saving the planet. You're thinking about saving the planet. So like I said, everybody's putting thermostatic valves in because we're avoiding scalding.
Absolutely, and those mixing valves is just a big chunk of brass, an alloy that we need for something else. But we're putting them on the top of a hot water tank. They're just breaking every 2 years.
Manifolds.
Yeah,
Wasted time.
Wasted time.
Double valve everything. You're gonna pull hot water from the basement from each one. So the master uses water.
Yeah.
So-
it's just a selling feature. It looks nice. It looks nice.
Touchy subject, hot water recirculation.
Yeah.
Super touchy subject.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you
like
need
super
You
touchy
need that with a
subject.
manifold system. One thing, if you even think of a manifold system for your home or building,
You need a recirc.
definitely need a recirculation.
Will the manifold
system.
ever get into the
Well,
code?
it-
No way.
That's a
waste
No
of
way.
time.
Okay.
They don't have the
No
money.
way.
not to forget that.
That's a
By
luxury.
by the way, that's minimum.
That's a luxury.
That's minimum code right there.
right.
Right? It's right on the edge. Why would you put right on the edge, right? What sets Dahl apart is a dedicated team of experts who are always ready to offer their technical support. Whether you have questions about installation, troubleshooting, or product specifications, Dahl's knowledgeable professionals are there to assist you. Their expertise ensures that you have the necessary resources and guidance to successfully complete your products. Check out Dahl at www.dahlvalve.com and on social at Dahl Valve. Just
Cost,
saying,
just for
it's
cost.
cost, because the reality is that if we actually built to better standards and we actually cared about certain things for homeowners, the construction cost would be like through the roof, right?
Through the roof. That's why the R value is so low. I mean,
Yes.
the builders do not want any more. The building association, I think, is what they
It
are.
is the builders
They don't want to add all this other stuff and have the cost of the home so great that they have to put more into it. They want to keep it low, inexpensive.
With false
Low and
statistics.
slow.
I'll just say that.
That's why AI
False
is going to start
statistics?
building.
Yeah, well, working with the air conditioning system and the Builders Home Association are, pretty linked together there. And, like to be thinking that new builds now in North America aren't considered to have in-floor warming in the basement slab. If you consider that as a factor of heat loss, it's probably the biggest heat loss factor of the home. So,
It's interesting. A lot of those associations, they spell construction CORUPTION.
right?
Can you write it
So,
out for me? I'm a plumber.
I'll type it out. I'll put it in big bold letters and neon lights, right? So
Yeah, it's really
I'm kind of
touchy
hoping I
subject.
spelled it right. I want to. Yeah,
It's a
I think
touchy subject for sure.
But and then there's a lot of muddy waters at that point, right? And you guys are just trying to provide a service. You actually want to do a good job and provide a service, but
Well-
you're being conflicted by the code, by associations, about products and all kinds of stuff. So you guys are going in. It's gone nowadays about you just coming in and we're going to vent here, we're going to drain here, we're going to install here. There's a bunch of stuff that you guys.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. So the building association is going to sell you a car. Not everybody's going to buy a luxury car. So they're going to sell you a car that's going to get you to A and B. And then what we can do is we can offer the homeowner just some extra bells and whistles if they want power windows or sunroof and stuff. We can, recirc pumps and things like that. We can upgrade that, more insulation, have a bigger R value. So they're going to have a basic home, and that's what they're going to get. That's what they can afford. And then some of the people want some extra bells and whistles because they know.
One thing, you brought up PEX. How do you guys feel about PEX coming out the wall, or do you stub out copper?
Well, it
Those are-
depends.
I hate
Are you
it.
saying
I hate it.
Exposed with UV?
Me personally,
I hate PEX out the wall.
it looks like a limp penis.
Yeah.
That's just me. I don't think it
I-
looks strong.
I honestly think it depends on the I think it depends on the finished product. Are you going to have like upscale valves, compression style valves?
Yeah.
I guess it's always a good practice to have copper
What
coming
are
out
your
of the
thoughts,
wall.
Sam?
Yeah, so I was going to say when it looks like a limp penis is because you're using coil piping. That's
Yeah.
not soft coil.
That's what
I
it
haven't
is.
used- I only use straight sticks.
Yeah.
And it's been
Oh,
10 years.
okay, I got it.
I will not buy a coil.
So
They're out of-
Viagra.
Yeah, nice and straight.
And you use cold expansion too.
I
which
do.
is
I
great,
use them.
yeah.
I use them both. But what I was going to say is that it's really important to have that opportunity to have all these features. To have what you need and stuff. They're very important to have those.
Well, that's the beauty of the industry, and that's not just catered to yours, but the whole construction industry is that you've got a lot of products that are coming out
Sure.
that are great, but also there's a lot of products that are not so great that have great marketing.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Absolutely.
mean,
I think
I can
that's-
think of a valve company that's not so great. Not Dahl, but
Not Dahl.
but there's a valve company that did really good at
So
marketing a
go
little
ahead,
while ago.
Adam, say it. It's just all.
I mean, I'll be honest. Brasscraft, really, like Brasscraft, they killed it with their marketing. They really did. But everything's plastic. It's not a valuable valve. It's not like it's not a good valve. I don't like Brasscraft valves. Do you like Brasscraft valves?
Well, they have the metal too, right? So they have the low end and the high end.
do architects
my go-to, to be honest.
do architects or do designers?
No comment. No comment.
Okay, so
I don't like 'em.
the people that are calling the shots, are they specking?
No.
Do they get in the world of specking any plumbing except for luxury finishes? Right?
Yeah, luxury finishes.
Well,
if you're working with a designer, if you are working with a designer
They'll
with a
be
design
specific.
package, they're more specific. But
Right, absolutely. And again, it's part of that building association. The Brasscraft is going to make those plastic valves that are probably $1 to make. I don't know. I shouldn't even put.
yeah,
a
but are
price
we
on it. I don't
talking
know.
copper or PEX? What are we talking?
We're
'Cause
not talking
You're not
either.
gonna.
We're not talking.
We're not talking.
valves.
So,
Oh, hang on a
so they
sec,
made
Sam,
the
sorry.
so they
Yes,
made
valves.
the PEX, the plastic ball valve. So the building association.
I think
now you got
every
valves
product
everywhere.
fails
But
with
Brasscraft
calcium.
also
Like, give me a
makes
break.
Hang on, Rob. Hang on.
Sorry.
And so they also make the metal valves. So a lot of times when we replace these Brasscrafts, I'm not putting the plastic in. I carry the metal ones on me and I put
But
them
you're
in there.
pricing for the metal.
Right. So you're going to price for the metal and you're going to try to give the customer the best that you want.
So
to do
who's
for it.
using the plastic?
So the big
are we talking
subdivisions,
about?
you know, we're going
Well,
to.
then there's
You're talking
mainline.
about the nut, like
The
the
What are you
nut is
talking about?
plastic or the nut is metal, right?
Well,
Plastic?
the actual shaft.
You're talking about the valve stem.
the valve stem
stem,
is
yeah.
plastic.
Plastic. But that's not in every brand. That's not in every Brasscraft. Maybe in the PEX Brasscraft. But there's
That's
even
what Sam's
there-
saying. There's two different.
yeah, there's
types.
different kinds. There's even mainline. There's even mainline that does crimp. That does crimp valve. I think all of them are going to
Well,
fail.
it's kind of like tools, right? I mean, no one tool has the best overall line of everything.
100%.
No,
I
you're
don't
right,
care
yeah.
what you want to argue and tell me that Festool
But-
has everything perfectly.
Yeah.
No, it
It's,
doesn't.
it's also it's
None of
also
them
the
are.
environment that they're in. Like our water has a lot of calcium in it, and if the valve's been open for 5 years straight, the amount of crystallization that hardens around that, and you go and try and turn it, now it's almost like you're going to either break it or it has to break all that crystallization.
So that brings me to clients and complaints. How do you guys navigate that wonderful shark fest in water?
Oh, I
right?
got a fun one.
I wanna hear
I got
that.
a fun one. I had a guy call me or email us last week. We did a backwater valve because we're the authorized contractor for Hamilton and backwater valves for the city, and we did a rough-in for him after as well. And there's a flange, and his floor was just cracked everywhere. Old Hamilton home, right? We re-concreted it, and he sent a picture of his flange with anthills all over it. Like everywhere. He has an infestation in his basement, and he goes, "You guys didn't seal my concrete properly. How are you going to fix this?" I was like, I had to call him today, and he
I'm not
didn't
an ant
answer.
wrangler.
Like, what do I say to him? What do I say to him? Like, I didn't know. I left him a message said we can talk about this, but what do I say to him without
That's
making
last
him feel?
trade pointing finger at syndrome.
Like what do I say? I say you have an ant problem. Like I'm not sealing your concrete. Sealing your concrete. What do you
There's
mean?
no such thing as sealing concrete, especially if you're doing a repair.
Well, there is. You
spot-
got epoxy the concrete,
So how
but
do
you're
you
not
guys-
like.
how
Yeah,
do
not
you
for a spot
give 'em a
repair.
raise? Exactly.
Yeah, not
hang
for
on,
a spot
hang on. So I'm
repair.
sure that you guys have had your fair share of client complaints on
Yeah.
different levels, right?
Yeah. Oh, big time. Like we actually have a 5-star Google rating. Like, and I know the lads here do too. And to be honest with you, like it's hard to keep up with. Like, and coming into the industry, that like I thought about that again. It's like if you're more niche, right, and you're not dealing too much with the general public, it's a little bit easier to control. But if you're going to go into the service industry, you better realize that you're stepping into an industry of customer care and customer service, right? We have
Very good points.
We have a CRM, like, so like, customer relations management or whatever it is. And like it's a software that basically keeps up with everything, right? All our clients are in there, all their information there. You can put birthdays in there. And we can send out birthday cards like from this stuff.
That's house call, right?
Yeah, that's how it's called. We're on. Like now we update our pricing. Like our suppliers hit a price change. Like Dahl changed their valve prices. My system updates same day. So like even the stock that we
Really?
keep, yeah,
That's impressive.
Once we get a notification from any of our suppliers, typically they say, Aaron, watch, we're going to change, like stainless is going to go up by, say, 10 points in this date, and then they will send out a letter saying it has, or an email saying it has. And then my manager would get onto the system. He would just increase their...
Wow.
Oh, wow, I don't get notifications from my supplier to do that.
See,
I just
well,
have to find it on my bill.
They
and,
ran out of
Okay.
pigeons.
Well, this is a thing, right? This is another very sore subject of suppliers, like, and to be honest with you...
But you should be sourcing out these suppliers
Well,
to
listen,
have that relationship.
we wrangle these guys, and you know what? Like, I got in from guys in the industry that have been in like as long as Sam, so I have a really good insight into old pricing. And I'm telling you, right? I had one of my suppliers that I won't name. I can guarantee I could sell you guys pipe and make profit for what these guys are calling themselves wholesalers.
Ain't
Right.
that something, eh?
That brings up another point that I didn't even put on the 10,000 pages of talking points here. Was like
A joke, like
it's gone. Like Sam, is it gone that a contractor or tradesperson doesn't get exclusive pricing anymore?
Yeah.
Is that dead and
it
buried
is
now?
100% it is. You know how we ran into a head-on? Sorry to hog the mic.
No, go ahead, man.
we like this is when it became very obvious to me. I ran into a guy in a job one day and he says, Aaron, I want to supply my own material. We don't do that, buddy. Like, there's no point in that. He was like, all right, at the very least, will you do the job and buy the material off me? All right, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I'll buy your material off you, but I'm buying it off you for the rate that I buy it for. The guy says, well, do me a fair deal. Like, okay. I present him the deal on it. And the guy says to me, okay, that's fairly reasonable. It's not far off what I paid for it. I said, what? He hands me the supplier's docket that I'm talking about in question. I have a company of 8 guys out there running around.
Wow.
This guy walked in with no account and got the
No
price.
way.
No, I'm telling you guys, oh, so you know where I was missing out on was I couldn't compete on commercial jobs because the System 15 piping that this suppliers in particular was selling that is at 4 times my current price right now.
Wow, ain't that crazy, eh? And
But
it can happen overnight.
But you know what? That leads to like you staying involved with your suppliers and keeping them accountable.
I know, but so it's no longer about swinging the wrench, right? It's no,
100%.
And you guys are already working 6 days a week, so now you got this is another piece to the whole business.
I think it depends on what kind of work you're doing. If you're doing more construction, mainly like these guys are doing, when you're doing service, $1 here, 50 cents here, 75 cents. Generally, the customer's paying for that because most of it's the customer's paying for everything.
Are you overwhelmed, Sam, by how much more is involved in running the business and actually operating the skill?
Absolutely, yeah.
But your kids are kind of showing you ways of kind of reducing or chunking down those responsibilities?
Absolutely. Well, they're learning every day. And that's, again, I hate to say it, but practice makes perfect. But, you learn from all these things and you try to deal with it. But there are some curveballs that you didn't really see coming. But you got to stay on your toes. It's great to get a notification. I mean, getting a notification and saying, hey, your price is going up and, changing your numbers that same time is really key.
I get that on ePrizer though. I don't know if you guys use Allpricer, anyone?
We use Allpricer as a set. Anyone that doesn't know that Allpricer is the standard set in the industry. what you should be doing is you should be getting a discount sheet from your suppliers, which will lay your discount across
Yeah.
every material.
Isn't it-
Then you check that with all pricer to see where the industry standard is, just to learn how
I
to
like
price
that.
jobs.
I like that a lot. I'm gonna, yeah.
What is it, like 40-60%, like generally from the suppliers?
Well, it depends on what the material is.
Yeah,
it,
what
it
it is.
depends. Like you know, like I pay net on pipe. Like, just to disclose that, like I wouldn't, like, you'd be very surprised to see what I pay on pipe, because I refuse to pay more on the very basics of what I need to install. Sure, yeah, I might, like, hit me for the glue next. Like, what am I supposed
Well,
to
they're
do?
gonna always hit you somewhere. They're always gonna hit
Well,
you
yeah, no.
somewhere.
Hit me on the Zorn wall carrier. That's all right. Like, I'll pay $4,000 for that, and I'll mark it up 30 points, whatever. Like, that's fine. Like, but
60.
for the basic items, when a guy is like, "Hey, I need to fix my laundry," like, it's like, "Hey, man, don't hose me on a 10-foot length of pipe."
I want to talk about
And you're gonna spend money. You're gonna charge them a 10-foot length of pipe too. Like, you're
Well-
not gonna charge them for 3 feet. You know? What I
No,
mean?
we charge by the foot. You just make sure that your foot breakdown has more points on it than your points on per length.
Yeah.
So, like, say when we're doing an install, there's no way you're making the same points on an install as you are in service.
What's the length of Cellcore ABS?
What,
What's the length of
18,
inch and a
1850?
half? Inch and a half.
I don't know, $18.50. I don't know,
Yeah.
$21. Yeah.
So how do you guys feel that manufacturers, how are they contributing to the industry? Are they becoming
Dahl
as
is
in-
really good. Dahl is really good.
No, it's not. we know that, but I mean, obviously, I still get the sense that the majority of the industry, when it comes to innovation and looking at the future of construction, isn't moving as fast as you guys.
Somebody's setting the standard by us going so fast, and they've got to keep up. And
Yeah.
I've noticed that some manufacturers are, and I'll say Team Red, Milwaukee, they've come out with so much stuff. Like, they've come out with tools that you didn't even think you needed a tool for.
Like a
Because
drain,
they paid
like a
attention
drain
to the
machine?
trade, right?
Like a drain machine?
I could probably name 100 different tools that you thought that you wouldn't be using 20 years ago from now. But there's some manufacturers out there, and I'm going to say Milwaukee, Rigid, they're advancing all their stuff to make our lives easier, because they're noticing that we're going faster, and we
Yes.
want more profit,
Yes.
and we want to do this. We want to do it. Not only we want to do it great, we want to do it excellent, because it's all based on referrals. You want to just leave the customer super happy, because that's the way you want to feel. You want to be happy at the end of the job. You don't want somebody coming to your house and you're like, fuck, I shouldn't have hired that guy. You know, he could have
Are
cut
you
a
on
couple corners.
ProPress? Are you guys everybody on ProPress?
Yeah, I just
No,
I'm new
Aaron,
to
you're
ProPress.
not. No,
Look, yeah.
I saw ProPress for gas and I was in awe.
Yeah,
No, I
it's
swear I
crazy.
saw angels.
So-
and
so
I was going,
ProPress,
oh my
ProPress
goodness.
for gas, you're going to save time, right?
Yes.
Because you're not going to be threading.
Threading,
You're not going to
exactly.
get full of oil. I agree with all that. But, like,
Not for plumbing.
you're coming off the top of a hot water tank and
Yeah.
you're ProPressing.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
don't know, like,
I agree
But
with
it's-
you.
but it's
I
like-
agree
it
with you
looks so
100%,
good.
Aaron.
It looks good.
You know what? I
Yeah, but
I
to be
piped
honest,
in.
we want to teach our guys to actually be a craftsman, not crimp copper. Like, there's a time and a place for press. Like,
So
there really is.
We're coming in at night time, we're pressing.
Yes.
We're doing a rise
doing-
and shutdown, we're pressing.
100%.
You
You're
know?
doing commercial, big main shutdown.
Yeah.
You're doing
This
press.
brings up a good point with apprentices, right? So it's like, are you guys still teaching the apprentices good old school
That's what I'm saying. They-
soldering?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
Brazing,
Okay,
welding.
What happens? You teach your apprentice to go fast and press everything, and then the poor kid or the guy's in a unfortunate situation. Water keeps coming, and then the guy's
gotta
got to
braze the
solder.
press.
Oh,
His
I
pro press-
didn't-
Hang on,
his
hang
pro-
on.
wait, hold on.
I didn't
Sorry.
know that. I thought you can only pro press if you're a fifth year and up. Anything less than that, you're going to be soldering and doing it right.
I don't know.
I'm going to
I
teach
don't
the
know
guys
good way to
ProPress.
do
I'm
it.
going to teach
That's-
you guys how to solder.
Yeah,
But you have
same
to
here.
understand ProPress. Like, I went to a boiler room, or I did a boiler with Black & Mac when I was an apprentice, and the pipe rotted out faster than the ProPress fittings. The ProPress fittings are actually casted full fittings. They're fully thick.
What size was the pipe?
At 3/4, 1 inch. It was a small boiler at Colonial Cookies in Kitchener,
Okay.
and the piping was Type L, and the piping rotted out, and the fitting was fine. It fell right off.
And that's fine. I love ProPress. Like, dude, we just used Mega Press last week. We Mega Pressed from 1.5 steel and transitioned to Uponor.
Yeah.
But I agree with all you guys that anybody coming into the business, and this is still, I would say, 10 years, 20 years into the future, you still better learn how to do
solder.
Oh,
Can I
yeah.
just-
100%.
Can I just say about known numbers again?
Yes.
Right. So think about this,
Yeah.
right? How much is a ProPress tool? $2,500, $3,000.
Yeah.
Right. You're doing 10 points. What are you doing? A $30,000 job to buy that tool?
No, that tool is essential, though, Aaron. It's essential. If you're a plumbing contractor, you need
What's
a
that?
ProPress tool.
Well,
So,
in my opinion,
You don't have one, do you?
Hold on.
Hey, guys.
No, my guys, some of my guys have them, but this is the thing. Like, I never run into a scenario where I feel that I'm a pipe fitter by trade. Like, I don't need a pro press tool. Just saying, like,
you need it if you're a contractor.
What
though.
happens is that we go and we see, oh, there's a tricky spot right there. Call the suppliers. Yo, send over the tool. Thanks. It's $50. Like,
Yeah,
tool.
no thanks.
Add it on to
yeah,
the bill.
for sure it makes sense. You're never going to get away from copper. Like, let's face it, PEX, crimp, or cold compression, it's malleable. It moves around. We still put copper into our shower valves. I build like the little cross valve, mount it, put the clips on it. Then you can put your flexible pipe to it. You can hook up to it and stuff. So you're still going to use copper. You're still going to solder and stuff. And
I think press is the best, like one of my favorite tools on the market.
it's
Pro
good
press.
if you don't want to have to carry the whole acetylene torch in because you got 2 hose bibs to do in the basement. Or just go get 2 490s
my
and do it in
guys-
20 minutes.
My guys, I gave them the option. I said, we'll finance the tool, but it's going to come off your paycheck. If you want it on your truck,
Oh, that's a
you
good
pay.
way.
I'll pay for it up front, but you tell me $100 off your paycheck every time for 5 years. I don't care however long it takes you to pay. But if you want it, it's going to make your job easier. Go ahead, use it. I have one guy. He's an older guy. He's 40-something years old, and he refuses to have it. He's like, I'm just not a fan of it. I'm a solder, and I'm like, power to you, man.
I mean,
That's it.
some of the old school guys know how to solder. They're the Usain Bolt of soldering. You know, like they're just
Solder
amazing,
your eyes,
right?
I like soldering bigger pipe. I don't have the
same
mega
with me.
price.
I
I
love
like
soldering.
2-inch in mud. I like soldering bigger
I love
pipes.
soldering big pipe. That's
I want to ask you guys, how can manufacturers collaborate with you guys?
Just ask us.
Outside of social media influencing fame whore. That whole world.
Oh, God.
Everyone know how I feel
Guilty.
about
Oh,
it?
my God.
Everyone know how I
So-
feel about it?
oh my god, that's
So
all Instagram with tools.
I know, but how
God.
can manufacturers collaborate with you guys? So Sam, you're saying just ask us.
Just ask us. If you're coming out with something new, man, just ask us. We do it all the time. So some actually do, and they talk to us, and they bring out some stuff. You know, we've had some other companies that I don't want to talk about right now, but they've come on site and they said, here, we're coming out with this product. Tell me what you think, or you can try it out. You know, that's working with the plumber. And then we say, yeah, this one's a little runny. This one's a little thick. You know, this is pretty good. Those are the companies that want to learn from the pros. It's like if you're gonna get a renovation done, you're gonna call a pro in. You're gonna ask him and
I
pick his
definitely
brain.
think Milwaukee's actually doing that, and that's why I
Yeah.
agree with you that Milwaukee's coming out with so many toys
So
and
many
adapters.
tools.
It's like they're almost building a plumber. I'm nervous that a red plumber is going to show up on site now and all of a sudden start doing the work for you guys.
I can't wait to buy a bandsaw.
got one.
I don't have a bandsaw yet. I was telling Nicholas we don't own one yet because I'm like unless you're doing more commercial industrial work, I don't really think you need a bandsaw. But
Cast iron, though.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Cast iron, rod, stuff
legend
like
for
that.
cat.
But
They have a rod cutter. The rod cutter.
The
Ooh.
rod cutters is premium. Like, honestly.
That's a perfect tool, rod cutter. 20 years
love
ago, do you think somebody's gonna cut rebar for
yeah,
you?
sawzall or no the hacksaw. How many times I smashed
There's nothing
my
better. It's the only way you
knuckle?
can do it.
My boss used to make me
Is
grab the
there
whole
enough
bundle.
product training going on, guys?
That's the key. Manufacturers need to
Manufacturer
have product training and education. Navien
But are
does a
you
really
guys
good job
going
of
to
it.
make the time for that? Because I keep going back to time. And I know, Aaron, you're big on numbers, which is hugely valuable in a business to become successful. But now more product training takes you out of the game, which means that you have to have a go-to person on site that's going to be handling things and taking care of things. But you guys, you need to send them. It's not
Yeah.
that you need to see you.
100%.
Yeah,
It's-
like we recently just have you guys. So like what we're experiencing now is in Hamilton, Radon, right?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Radon.
Radon, right? So today actually we
Is it really like high?
It's such a massive topic. It's like you are or
Listen,
you're not.
I've had a
we're
client that-
installers now. We,
I know,
as
but
of-
I've had a client who made me go through the whole EMF world, man. And I still, like, the Ghostbuster guy showed up and he had a Geiger counter and all this other.
Oh, yeah.
He had black socks
Oh,
and
yeah.
sandals and shorts and don't ever bring up Tesla with him. And I was like going,
Oh,
okay,
my
all right,
gosh.
fine. So I didn't believe it, but is
We're
radon-
doing a massive mitigation right now in London. I start the project on Monday. We're doing a project out there in a factory. I think it's about 10,000 square feet, and we're putting in 30 fans, like 30 fans.
Yeah.
36-inch fans, like.
Is that
What?
yeah for
Wow,
for
36.
for mitigation, like you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And all new homes in Hamilton.
So how
now
are you
being
guys going to
required.
find the time for this valuable training that if the client or the manufacturers look at their product development and they want to start training you guys to use this product because this product's going to change the industry, how do you guys find that time to do that? You have to work together.
Well, we don't. You would send your
Employee.
tax because they're ultimately the ones that should be trained. Like we're the ones that's supposed to be overseeing them. I to be honest, I love when the guys are educating me on stuff. I'm like, I want you guys to be doing a lot of the learning and stuff, and be like, Rob, come here, I'm going to show you this. That gets me excited, to be honest.
But you need to send your guys and send.
Yeah, for sure. I totally get it. And just to go back to, some manufacturers are doing that product training. Okay, so we'll call out Schluter with their systems and stuff. I know they have a few classes. They call you in. You can do some courses.
Yeah, but
I
do you really
haven't
need
done it.
training on Schluter? Like, it's
Yeah,
more.
you need training on
be
everything.
surprised.
No, not for plumbers though. I'm talking about like in terms of setting a drain. I don't really think you have to go to a Schluter training. I'm thinking more like combi boilers, mechanical
Navien,
equipment, pumps, I don't know, thermostats, like stuff that communicates and like stuff like that. I think you need training.
There's training on everything, like Sam said. Honestly, you can get training on everything, and nothing's common anymore.
I guess.
Yeah, but like with Navient's doing training. They do it in Toronto. I just met up with the guys from Navient. DaCosta from PC was there, and we went out.
Yeah, but you need training on that.
Adrian came out, yeah. And then, so Terrence is back down for the Navient training. I got offered the Navient training. It's $750. They pay for 3 nights of a hotel. You do 2 full days of training, and you're certified Navient tech.
Yeah,
you rip
awesome.
the boiler apart fully and put all the parts back in.
And that's what you want to do.
that.
These are the guys who built it. They're going to show you what you're doing and how to do it,
And
how
if
to
you
do
got
it
a
right.
question, that's the right person to
Right.
ask.
Yeah,
But then the
absolutely.
trade shows too, like I just got back from Germany and I was blown away at the stuff that I learned there. I felt like I didn't know anything about plumbing because they're 10 years ahead with heat pumps. Like we got heat pumps, we got electric
I
stuff
really
coming out.
wish that Canada didn't go the forced air route.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
Because-
what I was saying earlier on. It's
couldn't
Well,
get any
heat
air
pump-
conditioning
heat
out of
pump-
a boiler. And that's what killed it, was the air conditioning.
I know, because Europe is all wall-mounted units, and nobody in North America wanted to have those eyesores on the walls.
Absolutely. And when they said
And
they
I get it, but then
also-
the ideal situation is you have a furnace that services the AC part, also services a secondary heat component.
Yeah.
But then you have the boiler system up front, right?
But I think Europe
Spence.
Europe might have been more forced to go that way because we're talking about everyone there mainly lives in apartments and buildings. Here in Canada, up until now, like we had so much land everywhere. Up until 20 years ago, Mississauga, Brampton was farmland.
Yeah, it was all greenery.
So I think probably they went with what's more cost effective, mass production, going
Building
out.
association.
Yeah, probably that. They probably thought
How they
forced
spell
air.
construction, right?
Because
So
mechanical.
what factors do you guys take or consider when you're buying products?
Quality.
Customer service.
High five on that.
Aaron?
That
That's
is
what
big
I'm saying,
time.
man.
Yeah.
Aaron?
Customer service
Yeah, typically you
and
don't.
quality, obviously.
I ran into it there. I won't mention who, but a company out there like that carries a big name, and we installed a 6-inch backflow device for them. So a massive job.
Watts?
We were.
He's not going to name.
we were
Watts?
we were in an industry. We had shut down a plant that's like it was actually. They make parts and stuff, and so big production, and we reach out to these people and we say, you have an issue here. It's clearly not an install issue. You could see it clear as day. It was a factory well that was broken on the machine. Basically, they turned around and said, yeah, okay, we see that, but in the meantime, you buy another one. You facilitate the install.
No, that's not right.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I went back to the suppliers and I said, listen, I'm willing to never use you guys again if this is the outcome. And basically the owner of this suppliers, probably the biggest suppliers we deal with here, came down and basically said, okay, I'll cover the cost of that valve for you.
Because he understood the value of that statement that you made.
Yeah, you cover the cost of your install. We'll go into this together. And then this company took their sweet ass time to get back to us. In the end, they paid for it all. I'm not going to say they didn't, but
But you had to fight for that.
I had to fight for it.
And that you should not have to fight for that.
Well, they actually laughed at me first time around, which I was blown out of water.
Are you getting the same
silver
thing,
bullet.
Sam?
Yeah,
or
it's the
how's-
silver bullet.
Sorry, what's that?
Sorry, hang on a sec, guys. So are you getting the same thing, that kind of idea when it comes to... when
Absolutely. So it's quality and customer service for sure.
Have you seen companies from the 90s lose their quality because they've been amalgamated with
Yeah, but I think everyone has to a certain point. Come on.
So
No,
there's a-
not everyone. There's a lot of people.
not everyone,
No.
but in today's
Okay,
day and
name a
age, a lot
few.
of stuff has come offshore. So they see that fancy
That's-
shower
that's
valve
what I-
that's
that's
made
where
by
I was-
one
that's
company,
where I was
and then
going.
you got the next one that's
Some have gotten
name.
better than.
Hang on a second, Jeff.
And then you got some name that's an offshore company it has the same shiny knob, but they're not realizing that it's zero quality, and there's nobody that you can talk to.
So
to get
why do
replacement
you guys
parts.
want quality and customers? So I'm hearing 1 and 2. Number 1 is quality. Number 2 is customer service. What's number 3? Choose Dahl for your plumbing needs and discover the peace of mind that comes with their unwavering reliability and exceptional service. Experience the Dahl difference and join the growing community of contractors who trust in their expertise and rely on their products. So check them out at www.dahlvalve.com and on social at Dahl Valve.
Accountability.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll give you
sure.
a good one. We had one a while ago. Very reputable brand in the sense of like showers and stuff. Like a top brand, right? And
You're not giving up any brands, eh?
should I be? Right?
Can't get
I don't
sued.
want to be. Yeah,
Can't
like,
get
you know what I mean?
No,
Everyone can thank
it's
me
all
for
good.
this,
Leave it alone.
Yeah, if anyone wants to
DM
sponsor
Aaron
us
later
without
on.
name and shame.
He'll give all the brands later on.
But what happened was, right, this was a $250,000 washroom renovation, Lakeshore, right?
Nice.
Yeah, this guy in
One shower head, right?
yeah, right. So
What is he doing with
So
it?
on this shower, right? This is truth, right? They bring us over. They ask us to install the shower. The first thing we look at it and say, "There's no way a 1/2-inch pipe's gonna do this many functions on this
What?
shower."
Really?
Right? So we reach back out to the manufacturer, and the contractor says, "You know what? That makes sense, Aaron. Like it does. But we have this designer, and they assured us that this will work together. The designer hears your concern, and she thinks you should add a diverter." Right? So this is installed behind slab granite or whatever this stuff is, like marble, who knows, right?
Everyone's seeing the car crash?
Yeah.
Is that
Right?
what happened?
So
Okay.
we go back, we turn it on, and I mean to say, like, I could spit harder, like, right? And behind, like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, the wall that backs onto the shower, there's $30,000 worth of wallpaper on that wall.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah, but
crazy.
did anybody
You
hand
can't
paint-
even access it.
did anybody check the gallons per minute rating on that unit and
yeah.
realize that?
Oh, the designer knew better than the plumber. That's what we tried to.
Oh.
It was actually, it's clear as day because you could measure out the gallons per minute off all the functions, and we were able to tell them that it didn't work, and their solution was. So now here we are. We're in the house. The homeowners, man,
Put a booster pump.
everything is installed, right? And then they come back to us and they say, "No, you installed PEX." Yeah, we installed PEX. Oh no, we said copper. Wait, hold on. So what's
They
the
wouldn't have
difference?
changed it.
So then, right, against our judgment, and we said this, the contractor went down, ripped open the ceiling, and made us bring 3/4-inch PEX to a 1/2-inch transition on the valve. This is the fuckery we were dealing with, right? What sense does that make? We got a 3/4-inch pipe that
still
goes to a
bottlenecking.
1/2-inch
No,
pipe. It
it's-
doesn't matter
yeah,
if it's a 10-inch
it's-
pipe going to a
it
1/2-inch
still
pipe.
would
It's the
not-
same.
still-
It's the same.
It
thing,
brings up
right?
issues, I guess, with warranty, right? So
Yeah.
how many times are you guys fighting with warranty?
Oh, I got a really classic one here. I got a great general contractor that we've done many homes together. And the homeowner, the house that we did, they basically purchased 6 different shower manufacturers. I mean, this
In
was
one home?
So in the master, you had 4 different manufacturers. You had a certain valve, you had a different handheld. Yeah, it was just like
That's
it
not
was-
right.
It was all put together. But anyways, the story that I'm getting at is one of my favorite shower valves is a Ryobel shower valve, and they did have them House of Roll, and they used all the other ones. The other ones all had problems with them. If it was the shower valve, if it was the handle and stuff. I went back 6 different times changing cartridges and stuff like that. And again, it happened for one of my best general contractors, and he understood. Now I put it right in there. We're going to install everything. If it leaks on day 1, it's extra for me to take it apart and do it. That's the manufacturer that you picked. You didn't do your homework. They have no warranty. The guy at the end, the guy inspected by number 93, and there's no stamp at the end anymore. They've got the stuff. So we had so many things. I went back to this house 6 different times, changing cartridges, changing this, changing that. And that I had to tell the general contractor that I said, you know what, somebody's got to pay me for my time.
But
And
everything,
what was the
but
issue?
everything falls on you, though.
And what was the issue?
Cartridges, gaskets, Rain head on the ball. Was
Everything
loose.
that's not in your fine print in your estimate
Yeah.
is on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've even seen it go.
Oh, 100% it is.
Okay, all you guys have been caught with your pants down.
So
that's why you learned.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Like I would say that like
Well,
every 10 estimates we change your estimates because someone found a gap.
Yeah, of course. There's always a gap because you're going to miss one word that now opens the door to that.
Right, and that's where you're going to have your special notes. I'm up
that's
to
not
23 different
collaborate.
lines in there.
Really?
You
23
need it,
different
100%.
lines.
You have
100%.
to add all this stuff in just
At the,
to,
yeah.
otherwise you're responsible for coming back.
There is so much garbage out there, and people, these little boutiques, and they want black trim on their shower, and they only want to spend $450. They're going to go buy that because it looks all shiny and stuff like that. And then we install it, and it doesn't work very good.
Does it come with a can of Tremclad too?
Yeah,
with it or what?
exactly. But-
Designers and
Exactly.
engineers are our worst nightmare.
You know,
100%. I'll agree with that
You know
one.
what? I learned that early on doing custom homes when I did commercial jobs. I learned very early on when you do commercial, you have to be a lawyer. You have to use words that lawyers do, and that's how you have. Because anytime there's an issue, they will hold you under their thumb, and they will make sure that you are accountable. Because they're not going to be accountable. And same thing with custom home builders. Every little thing that they can squeeze out of you. That's why I started doing that early on. This includes up to 3 or 4 visits of finishing. After that, it's an extra charge for each visit. It's like, why is it my job to make sure that you're organized?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and it's like,
my houses
by
are 4
washroom?
pages. My quotes
Like-
are 4 pages long for a house. That's
Yeah.
how long my quote is. I'm not the guy to send one quote to say I'm going to do plumbing in your house. These guys, and it's super cheap, and it's $5,000 cheaper than what we do. Well, that guy that didn't write that he's going to
Yes.
give you
He's gonna-
this. You've left yourself open for
Open.
everything. My quote is detailed. I'm going
That's
to tell you
exactly
exactly what
it.
I'm going to do in every room, and I call it out, and I tell you what kind of stuff I'm going to put in there. So there are no hidden costs. The price is the price because I broke it down and gave them a fair.
Also, the way we work it is that, so what we were finding was that when you're operating a couple of crews, that sometimes contractors can mislead the guys, and they show up on site and buddy be like, oh, come over here and I'll show you this pipe. So what we do is we attach our estimates to our work orders, and we basically make sure that it's so detailed that you can pick it up and read it and plumb to an extent that you stop when you realize something's not right. So then at that stage, it's an extra, a change order, whatever it is we got to do to make that happen right then and there.
Right, for sure. The master shower, you're going to put a shower valve in. They show up with 2. What are you going to do? I'm not putting 2 in. I only price it for 1.
Yeah.
We're installing a shower
you're
valve.
Here, since you're
Since
yeah,
you're here.
that's
Or
the common.
since you're
We
here.
changed it from 3 functions to 16 functions, and we want it done in copper.
Yeah, so
Since
live and
you're
learn.
here.
Live and learn from every job. Just make a note, just
that's
cover your ass.
amazing. That's amazing.
Guys,
Guys.
let's talk safety.
Wow. I hit that a couple of weeks ago when I got an interesting phone call, and it was this a firm that were basically like, how many guys have you got? And I'm like, this many. And they're like, well, what's your safety protocol for all that? I'm like, huh? They're like,
That's what I did. What?
you got stickers on all your doors, and you got this, you got that, and like, fire extinguishers, blankets, like, no vape signs.
Okay, was this the Ministry of Labor contacting you, or was just a
No,
third party?
It's just like a third party where you can kind of sign them up, and like
There's been a lot of that going around.
I
Yeah.
use one.
Oh, so they're selling you.
they were trying to sell us.
Yeah, of course,
the
they
demo
Well, it's
part.
trying to, you can look at it that part, but they're probably trying to
have
keep it
office-
current too. They
Yeah.
don't want to get you caught with your pants down. You
But
know?
okay, so what steps are you guys taking for your business to be a safe operating business on and off the job site?
So we have a small little PPE kit. You got your safety glass, you got your earplugs and stuff like that. We don't need hazardous waste gloves or some hydro gloves. That
I
we
agree.
tight.
I agree.
So the basics is really important. I'm going to tell you, starting back in the day when I did, there was no earplugs on there. I actually can't even hear too good in one ear because we used hammer drilling all the time in a small little room. There wasn't any of that. But I'm making sure that my guys have their earplugs, they have their safety glasses, and they got knee pads in their pants.
And
built-in
three- and-
knee
and
pads
some
just to
twin
take care of their
wrecks.
body.
And masks. I'm really big on. We have like the mask,
Gloves,
the 3M
masks.
mask for
Yeah,
vapor
that's common. It's all
cartridges.
in
And the hard hat's not always on. Let's just be honest.
Yeah,
about
100%.
it.
Not always
It's
on.
not always on.
I mean, I come from Black and
Black and Mac. So
with-
your hard hat is basically sewn on.
Yeah, like but that hard hat, no, and my hard hat's covered in union stickers, and now I'm not union, so it feels weird wearing it. But
Then you can get a ministry labor officer come by and go, listen, those stickers, the adhesion is actually deteriorating the plastic.
Yep,
of that,
they do.
which means could be a hairline crack that I don't see, which means you could hit a pipe and all of a sudden you can have a concussion, which means you'll be in a coma and a part of a soap opera, Spanish likely.
yeah.
That kind of world, right?
But when it comes to safety, I kind of brought safety into our other group.
You
'cause we
kind
were
of
growing.
have to, especially with the younger gen, right?
You do.
Yeah.
You
We
do,
have
for
we
sure.
have a program like the guys that were probably calling you. It's basically they pay. You can go online and they have 10 courses that we can pick from, and we get all our employees on it. So it's WMIS and working at heights and all the basic stuff, because it just holds them liable for if they get hurt.
Yeah.
You're trained on it.
I
You're
kinda
signed
like
up
the
trained on
old
it.
school
Workplace
construction.
harassment is a big one.
I like the old school.
There's one course on there for bear safety.
Really?
If you run into a bear, I'm like, wow, do you need that? Like,
You never know.
I think
Maybe
everything's
it's just
about
a
covering
hairy
your
guy.
ass.
yeah, it is about covering your ass.
It's all
about covering your ass
it's
as
all
a
about-
business.
It's all about covering
It could
your
be a guy
ass.
taking his shirt off and he's got a sweater. Like
Yeah.
that's
You
the
know-
bear,
Oh,
maybe,
yeah.
right? Like,
You know
what?
It's fine when it's you, when it's a guy, you know, when it's something controllable, and it's
we
like,
all got each other's
you
backs,
know.
right?
But what it is as you start to grow and you start to scale it, like at the end of the day, like if people get hurt and they're there to work for you, like, you know, they're going to look for their compensation. So what I would say it is that understand that as you're growing, if you don't have a safety procedure, you don't have an operating procedure for safety, or understand to the size of your company to what those procedures should be,
Yeah.
and you're not incorporated,
Oh,
be very, very careful.
Yeah,
Be
we're at
very
28
careful.
guys. We have 28 guys all total. You know what I
so
mean?
you
So we
need to
have to.
you have to have two.
Yeah, we have a safety committee, and one of my plumbers is a safety committee. They have to meet once a month.
Yes.
He has to go over the shop, make
But
sure.
technically,
everything's good.
based on mold, every morning everybody has to have a talk to.
Yeah, you have a work site safety talk and stuff.
Right. And operating a business, that's kind of difficult to do. And that's contributing to more time and stuff like that. It's not that we're ignoring safety.
No.
We're hiring people and being part of a collective on your crew that everyone is aware of each other. We all want to go home.
Yeah.
We all want to start the
course.
day. We want to go home, right?
Yeah.
We're not trying to thumb it in their faces, but also we're running a business too, right?
We're also not rushing our guys.
This is
Yes.
what leads me to the value that tradespeople bring to society, and this is something that like I want to be the cheerleader for the trades construction industry, or more just trades, not even construction, just trades, is like the amount of value that we bring to society, and have always brought to society. Like we build stuff, like we build infrastructure, roads, things that people use every single day with our bare hands, and I feel like, you know, more people need to hear that and trades and realize how valuable they are to people's everyday life. Like I tell people with plumbing, if you don't have proper plumbing, you are going to have a bad day. Like I can guarantee
But
you
see,
that.
that's the thing, is that as a homeowner or as a person of society that's not in the construction industry, you are not paying attention to what we do or what we offer until it affects you.
I think
So,
that's
driving
everybody.
to work and there's a water main break and there's congestion, then you're complaining about the construction crew with the signage that's bringing down 3 lanes to 1 lane. You get home and you've got a pipe burst and now you've got a leak. So it's not until something happens that it changes your perspective
But
on who we
the
bring,
thing is,
or
though,
what we bring. Sorry,
people need to. I think society doesn't push that out there because it's not sexy, it's not attractive. Because like, why is it that firefighters are held with this up on this like pedestal, like they save people's lives? It's like, yeah, they do, and I'm not taking anything away from
Well,
firefighters.
you both run
But
the-
I'll tell you right now, construction, I can guarantee you, in a high-rise building, is more dangerous than a firefighter will ever see on a daily
agree.
basis.
I agree.
Like
Which
that,
brings up a good point. Sorry, it brings up a good point about the whole aging water system here. Like Toronto is not the forefront and leading when it comes to infrastructure.
Absolutely.
And you guys are
No, look at
fighting.
our roads.
It's not.
You guys are fighting that. It's not. I'm just being honest.
Oh
it's,
my-
it's not.
I think a lot of the residents in Hamilton, they still have a problem. They still
Lead.
have
Lead pipes.
lead pipes coming into the house.
Are you kidding me?
I'm
Really?
not kidding
Yeah,
you.
Oh,
lead.
yeah, you see, we've
Lots.
done
Right
lead
today.
repairs.
So
like-
they tell you not to drink it and stuff, but of course you're not going to drink lead water. But showering and letting it go into your pores,
Still the
and
same
stuff,
thing.
It's not going to be very good for you.
This
or
is why I
young-
believe in water,
younger
water
or elderly.
filtration.
And they
That's why
still
I have a
have them.
carbon block in my house. I have like water filtration in my house. I don't care what anybody tells me. Like I don't have an RO. I haven't gone to that extreme, but I might. I have a huge carbon block.
Is it
filter.
worth reverse osmosis?
Here,
Nope.
like, listen, it depends what you
Depends on
want
the
it
water.
for.
Depends on the
Well,
water.
it depends on.
If you want to make ice cubes, it's
Yes.
fantastic.
And
Yeah.
tea
Good point.
and coffee. It's great. Anything you want to bring.
it'll make
flavor
it
out.
it'll make it a crystal ice cube. It
Yeah.
looks great.
It's
there's
only
no
going to be as
bubbles
good
in
as
it.
you change the filters. You don't
Yes.
change the filter, it doesn't matter. People just buy
Okay, but
it
I'm
and-
not making plumber's money that I can actually molt spheres of ice into my drinks. Okay, I'm not making that kind
I think
of money.
I think it has a place. Water filtration. I definitely think because an RO is going to be filter out parts per billion, which are usually poisons, and then your carbon blocks are going to be more parts per million, which is going to be like general stuff, like you were saying, lead, organics. I would even say pharmaceuticals. All kinds of stuff like that that's dumped in the waterways. So I still believe there is value in water filtration. I have it.
I agree.
believe in it.
I agree.
I don't buy
100%
bottled
for sure.
water.
Sorry.
Of course, big time.
Yeah.
Future of plumbing.
I mean,
What's it looking like?
I mean, everybody
Heat
wants to
pumps.
be an HVAC.
It,
Heat
it-
pumps.
it-
Heat
it-
pumps.
it looks
Yeah.
bright. It looks bright and lots of opportunity.
Propane and heat pumps.
Sam,
About
you've
the
seen
same.
it evolve about the same, right?
Yeah.
Radiant heat
To-
and heat pumps.
To be honest with you, man, I think there is such an opportunity in the next 10 years, and I see it, and I'm going for it. In 10 years, there is such an opportunity out there for, I would say, plumbers and HVAC guys, because everything's going modern HVAC. The amount of money that's going to be in, like we were talking about, equipment, all this stuff needs to be serviced.
For sure. And it's all Energy Star rating stuff.
Sorry, Tom. What was that?
Single source energy.
Single
Push
source.
to electric.
Electric.
This is always an interesting subject to bring up. What's more important, the tool or maintaining that tool?
Maintaining that tool. Coming from a service guy that likes to service everything.
Aaron?
Depends on the price of the tool.
Yeah, 100%. What is the tool in discussion? Like, what are we talking? What
So
is
that
the
brings
tool?
up another point is like, what are the key tools a plumber should have?
Goes down to value. So service depends what you're going to get out of it, and you got to service that tool as well. But you got to break down the value. Is it going to? I've bought some tools that, not many that I don't use. Almost every one that I've used, I've like, wow, this is so amazing. But I have purchased, a small few that I barely use. So it really
Pro
depends
Press.
on value. So you look at the price.
I
how
love
many
my
times you
Pro
can use
Press.
it.
I never used
I
it.
did.
But
I found the
it's
Pro
there.
Press for an old guy. I tried the Pro Press, and I like soldering and stuff like that. But when I found it, I only got 2 trucks. I always buy 2 of everything, so I bought 2. One for each truck's got a press on it, and sometimes that we need to do that and stuff like that. But
Are they
getting back
making
to
you
two-
money? They're making you money.
100%.
Okay.
Instead of lugging that torch down and cleaning it up and paying the guy like 45 minutes to do it, I can go get 2 fittings that are probably $10 each, and he's going to press it and be done in 10 minutes.
Dude, do a mechanical room of radiant in-floor heating. You go and solder that thing. I'm going to do press because
Yeah,
I'm not going to
definitely.
inhale a small room of soldering and infiltrate this person's house with soldering. And also, I'm going to be done probably 3 times faster than you are.
So what do
And
you
on
guys
to the
do?
next job.
Food plant. I worked on a waffle factory when I was with Black & Mac, and we pressed everything. You shut down a food plant because there's a leak, and you're gonna solder it. They got to purge the lines. They're closing production for 24 hours. I'm gonna cut it, pro press it. They're back up and running like that.
Yeah.
The school boards, you don't got to do heat. You don't have to have.
I know, but you're saying plant school boards. I'm seeing invoices being approved.
Yes. Yeah.
When it comes to
you're talking about-
residential,
Right,
and-
that-
different.
That's what I'm saying. You're doing half-inch. We're not doing pro press on half-inch. Like, we're soldering.
There's
I think
there's a
Manny
time
just
and a
said-
place.
I think
Yeah,
Manny
there's a
just said
time
right
and a
there.
place.
Time and a place for
Yeah,
everything.
hang on, hang on, go ahead, Sam.
Time and place, and it's like Manny just said right there. Commercial, I've got a few buddies that are in commercial. They just say, this is what we need done, and you submit a price, they say, okay. They say it all the time. Whereas residential, you submit
different.
a price, they're going to try to say, hey, it's kind of expensive. They kind of try to go back there. It is a different world and stuff, but again, you got to know your numbers and just sell them on what you've got. And
Listen, water even in a residential small repair. Like the other day, I walk into a house and I'm like doing a stop and waste. I'm like, oh, boom, my torch. I'm like, we're not pressing this. I'm soldering it. What ends up happening? We're in this crawl space of a bungalow. The amount of water that would keep popping and popping out. I finally said, Nicholas, when you are in a situation like this, you are pro pressing. Because I'll tell you right now, we would have been in the truck right now already down the highway to the next call right now. We just wasted 20 minutes on a bullshit half-inch stop and waste valve that I said we're going to solder it and get out of here because it's cheaper, faster, and efficient. what ended up happening, I ate my own words. I'm like,
See,
situations like that, you're going to...
Sorry, Aaron. What?
like in the service industries, I have to think of it.
Yeah.
Think of it like this, right? Like, say you call us, right?
Yeah.
You want to fix a leak. I'm going to have a minimum charge. So
course.
that this is another thing. What's your minimum charge? So say my minimum charge is an hour, right? So I'm going to come into your house. Would you rather me bring in a blowtorch, introduce myself, give you a little chat, blowtorch that up, and leave in 35 minutes? Or would you rather me walk in and say, hey, press, buy, there's your bill?
No, I disagree. Because guess what? Guess what, Aaron?
I agree.
No,
me personally, if I was a
disagree.
homeowner,
I disagree.
But you're coming in for an hour.
Guess
You're paying,
what?
you're paying for an hour regardless.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, why not tell the customer, since I'm here, you can have a discussion with them. Is there anything else you want me to look at in your house? Do you have any questions? What are you talking about? The homeowners all the time. Can you look at this? What do you think about that?
I know, but you're paying for an hour, and so if you finish the job in 10 minutes, then I got 50 minutes. To
You're
supposed to
not
fix something.
finishing the job in 10 minutes when it comes to cost.
Listen, we're still running a business, and it's like what Sam said at the very beginning. I'm not running a business to basically break even.
Yeah,
If you're breaking even, then you're not running a business. You're just another employee in the business.
totally.
Right?
Even if you're making money, you can be just an employee in your business, because that's the struggle that we all have as plumbers, right? Because you got to transition from being a guy who got into a
Technician
trade to work
to
with your
business.
hands. I left school at 15, right? That's normal in Ireland. Like, that's why I'm a trades guy.
Yeah.
I didn't go to college, right? I got involved in the trades, and I'm doing it a long time. So now I have to go from, a great book is The Myth of the Entrepreneur, the E-Myth. Right, you got the worker who sees it from the worker's level. You got the manager who's got to delegate to those workers, and he's the guy who's going to be more organized. That's the guy who can have a couple of workers underneath him. And then you got the entrepreneur, like that's the visionary person for the business. Now, the entrepreneur has to speak to the manager to understand to keep the vision in line. I have a manager, and I tell you one thing, like I go nuts to the wall, and he'll say, Aaron, stop. Like, just, we're not going there. Right? And I'll say, why, you don't think so? And he'll say, no, like you're reaching too far. Like you just, I have to organize this. So slow down, like, which makes sense, right? Like, because otherwise then you're just in too much and ultimately you may lose.
To be
right?
honest, there's a huge difference that people don't understand. They think just work harder, and that is the truth. But are you working harder at the right things? Just because you're working harder at being a technician or a plumber or doing more work, that's great. You're going to make more money. But what is your goal? Is your goal to actually build a reasonable or a business that employs people, that inspires people, that wants to help people? Or is your goal just you want to make a shit ton of money and you're okay being your own boss? And depending on what your goals are, you have to figure that out. Because if your goal is I just want to make money, have a good lifestyle, provide a certain lifestyle, then being a 1 or 2 person show, hustling, bring in 300, 400K, which is so easy as a good plumber in terms of efficiency and how you run your business. You can make easy 300 to 500K as 2 guys.
I know. I mean, you guys love driving Porsches.
Yeah.
So how often do you guys reevaluate your business? On a monthly, on a yearly,
We do quarterly.
quarterly,
Yeah, quarterly.
and you're truthful with yourself.
Yeah, I'm in
For the most part.
Rob,
I would say I'm constantly. It's a constant.
weekly.
I would say it's constant for me. I'm always thinking about like, is this really what I want? Because you have to. There's so many things that come into it because there's so many roadblocks, and you have to almost unbreak and unteach what you've learned. I was taught a certain thing from my parents and my dad, like what you can do today, and that is so great. But what are you doing today? When you say do what you have to do today, does that mean cutting my grass, doing my laundry, or does that mean calling an extra client, doing an extra job, doing my numbers, going through the job that we just did right now, and reevaluating our folder? There's so many things.
Sam, how often do you reevaluate?
Quarterly.
Quarterly as well.
Yeah, quarterly.
And Adam, you're quarterly.
Quarterly, just because we get our quarterly numbers, you go over, see what you did the last 3 months, what you did wrong, what you did good, and then you evaluate. And
Are you
try
guys
and do
finding
better.
that you're shifting and pivoting quite a bit every time?
I'm in an entrepreneurial group called 4 Level Coach. So like,
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's basically, about contractors and how to scale a business essentially, And so within this group that we will do our 90 days and we'll keep each other accountable, and they bring you through a series of tasks that you have to fill in, and what you see is your mindset shift over time. Like I can pull out some of mine from like say 2 years ago, and what I have down on paper to where my vision was to what I was doing in comparison to what I'm doing now is a different person.
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
It
That's
has
so
to
true.
be. If it's not, then you should be questioning.
Well, you have to become a different person to achieve different levels of whatever your goals are, right? You have to now become that person. And what does that person look like? What does that person do? You know?
As Adam said it earlier, it's like learning to be a leader. Like he said it in the sense of that, you know, you have to go from a guy who like works somewhere and you're a good worker to now learning to be a leader. Like how do you bring value to a team? I don't want to be the smartest plumber in my company. That wouldn't be any achievement to me. It's my goal to make sure that every plumber comes through as a better plumber than me because I'm giving them my knowledge. But it's up to me to be the best leader in my company.
How do you guys overcome stigmas and stereotypes in the construction industry? Because they're still there. They haven't gone away. Maybe they're quieter these days.
I don't think they'll ever go away and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I think it's good to have them, you know, like let them think what they want. It's going to make them happier.
Yeah, until
you know?
that's when you show up with your Porsche and you say hello.
I don't
and,
drive my Porsche to the
No, but
job
I'm just saying that's when you show up with your Porsche or whatever like that.
What is with plumbers and Porsches, man? Like
High performance.
a lot of
high,
plumbers
high,
and
high
Porsches.
performance.
The cost of plumbing is just going to go up because you see how many apprentices are actually getting into plumbing. Out of all, like if you pick the top 3 skilled trades, plumbing,
Yeah, it's
HVAC,
plumbing,
and
Electrical.
and electrical.
Yeah.
Electrical, there's a lot of people wanting to be electricians.
Yes.
A lot of people want to be HVAC.
Yes.
Nobody really wants to be a plumber because they think you're going to be covered in shit and dig holes.
No, I don't think so, man. There's a lot of guys that want to be plumbers.
Yeah, I get that.
But that's
Oh.
the misconception.
But
is-
that's just the stigma that
Yes.
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
what we're
bring
talking
up.
about.
It's just
Yeah.
a stigma
Oh,
that
stigma.
some people might think.
I don't know.
But it's fine to me. I'm okay with it. I laugh. I'm like,
We
I'm
make
gonna
more money on
stupid
our dig jobs than we do on our
I don't-
install.
You know,
So why is
There's
there
gold in the ground,
why,
bro.
Why is there a rivalry between plumbers and electricians? This is just my
Because
own-
plumbers are generally. Because I'll tell you right now, to be honest with
prima
you,
donnas.
Who is? Okay, hang on. Who is? Electricians are?
Prima donna electricians, yeah.
It's good.
Same with HVAC. HVAC guys
I
think they can challenge
I see
everything.
deja vu when I do an electrician roundtable. They're going to probably be plumbers or prima donnas
Yeah, but HVAC guys literally think that they can do everything. They're, I can challenge the
because
plumbing
they get
exam.
all their tickets, right?
Yeah, they think, oh, I could do plumbing. I do a little bit of plumbing here, and I do a little bit of electrical here. I could do everything.
I'm not gonna lie. I will be honest. I'm a little bit of a prima donna. Like I'll be honest with these hands here. I generally don't touch pipe and stuff without gloves.
I
I'm
dog,
not-
I raw dog my sewer.
I'm not-
I raw dog my sewer, and
know,
you're
I
over
don't
here
even
putting
have
gloves
gloves on
on.
my truck.
Yeah, like no.
Put the gloves on for
How-
lunch.
I know we're going to wrap it up soon because it's like, what are we going on? How long, Angelina? Oh, minute and 50, almost
Can I
2
just
hours.
can I touch base on the whole electrical
ahead.
thing? I
Go
just
ahead.
want to touch base on any kind of build, any kind of way you're going to do it. The wheel has to turn. So there's a certain thing, and I can only speak in residential, that HVAC goes first. They know where their big ducts are going in.
Biggest holes.
Right, biggest holes. They're going to run their stuff.
Electrical's
Plumbing
last.
comes in second.
Smallest holes.
That electrical can go up and down, up and
Yes.
down. They're not going to put it where I got to put blocking because I got a sink and I need to have
Yes.
slope. It's just it really runs a lot better. And most electricians understand that. They give us a little bit of space. We just need to get inspection. I just need to run my shit to where it's got to go, and I want to mount it, clip it, and everything else. And then you can run your stuff all around it when I'm doing shower valves and doing other stuff. And I think that's the best way it goes. Is when you try to interrupt that wheel, how it stops. And then everybody's got to wait.
I agree.
There's fucking wire in your way. Why are these wires here? I got a sink over here, you know. But anyway,
What are you guys doing? Like just 1 or 2 things on networking and connecting with, I guess, other businesses.
We are part of a BNI group.
Okay.
We go out. We have a guy that goes out in Oakville and one that goes in Grimsby as well, because we do a lot of waterproofing and everything else too, right?
So you see the value with this networking.
BNI has been great for us. We've seen the value so far. We've only been in it about 6 months, but yeah, I see it so far. But then again, we're fairly new. So,
Aaron, are you doing any?
Like in the sense of like being involved with any groups or organizations?
Yeah, I've been noticing a lot of people are getting on Facebook groups, and it could be a plumbing group or whatever, and you guys are just talking trade, and you're communicating with each other. Like you mentioned earlier in the show, you guys are discussing the trade with other people outside of this country, inside this country.
it's absolutely. It's more people that you meet and stuff. I always have a joke, you know. I went to school in Oakville here, but I went to 3 different high schools. And I know a lot of people in Oakville. And
You got
you know,
kicked
it's
out, didn't you? You got
no,
kicked
I
out.
never got kicked out of any of them, but I went to 3 and I finished off at the third
was
one, which
suspended
was
for 3
great.
days.
But but you know, it's who you meet and stuff, and you gravitate to people that you know that are do really good. You hold on to their numbers, and then you just meet people, and it's all about communication. I don't spend 10 cents a month on advertising. My phone rings almost every day, and it's all based on referral. And almost every one of my voicemails says, "Hi Sam, I got your number from. They said you're a pretty good plumber. You could probably help us out."
That's
And
a lot.
I'm not trying to brag or anything. Like,
No,
I'm just
but
saying,
that's advertising.
I would
yourself.
advertise,
Yeah.
but the
You
problem
need-
with
you need
advertising
to at a
is two
certain
things.
size.
It's really expensive, and you don't know where to. There's so many places to advertise. So if you told me that if I advertise right here and it's going to cost this much, okay, I'd probably be interested. Sure,
You got to
Wow.
be able to measure it though. The thing
You do. You gotta
when,
measure
when,
it.
When I hit, so like this is the thing. Like I got the 4 guys, right? And like the way I kind of figured it is that, and a couple of guys asked me this: what do you got to do to break $1 million in the plumbing industry? You got to get 4 guys, in my opinion.
That's
That's where it's at. Like,
All right.
you know, like that's what I figured it out to be, right? But then how do you get from 4 guys to 8 guys? Because with 4 guys, like I could run.
Are you compounding the same figures? You talking 2 million with 8 guys, or is it greater?
It's less. Yeah.
It's less.
It's you can do because your operating expense becomes more because now you need more people on the back end to facilitate
Yes.
that many guys because
Yes.
it's a ratio of like how many project managers can manage plumbers. Like what would you say is fair to say that? I would say that it's a 1-to-4 ratio, that you would find it very hard to have an estimator manager that would have more than 4 plumbers on
agree.
the field.
Yeah.
Right, and then what can them 4 plumbers achieve? Can those 4 plumbers have 2 apprentices each, or 1, or are they 4 good plumbers, or you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah.
so it's kind of like But what I was saying about the marketing is that until you can measure it, it's dangerous almost, because like when we got involved and we had to get out there, get Google ads and stuff, it's like you're trusting that somebody is going to come back with the correct analytics, and that you're going to have to say that looking at their pie chart that means nothing to you, that this is great. Now, they're selling you on cost of a lead. So if you can't generate the lead, if you don't have a process, if you're going to pay $100 for a lead, and now you don't have somebody that's in the office that has a spiel, that's vetted, that knows how to make the contact with this client, marketing is a waste of time.
I agree.
Right?
Marketing's always been a toss-up, though. You're basically throwing stuff into a magazine and hoping stuff comes back.
Magazines waste of time.
Yeah.
Realtors waste of time.
Yeah.
Like Google works, like it does work, but you just have to be able to manage it. That's the problem with it, right?
Yeah, it's a good point.
To be honest with you, I think you got to test a lot of different marketing strategies and areas and then measure them. Yeah, because if you're not measuring them, you don't know the success rate. Also, the thing is, though, I think as a business owner, you have to understand marketing as well, because if you don't even know, is this marketing team delivering on what they're promising you? And measuring, it's very important, but you got to also think as, what's the strategy here? Are we going to concentrate on cartridges, drains, commercial, and then in that bucket go from there?
I'm of the mindset of Sam. Like whenever I'm a GC, so whenever I was looking to hire somebody, I didn't consider an ad that maybe was sent my way and I looked at it. I considered it like someone I trusted as a trade made a recommendation about somebody else. And all of a sudden I met them, and by meeting somebody 2 seconds, we know if they're legit or not. And then I go, I want to work with you.
100%.
And so the word of mouth, and I think that the younger generation is kind of skewing towards that plan where you want to test waters, try marketing, try this platform, try this association, try all these things. Why not spend that effort on word of mouth and just build a brand and let the universe come at you?
But it also depends. It also depends on what are your goals. If your goals are, I want to build an actual business and scale it, word of mouth is great. And there's another strategy for referrals, because you want to communicate constantly with your customers. You want to make sure you're in communication with them. You send them cards, and that's really important. Referrals.
I think the younger generation is skewing towards that more because in slow times,
but
they'll say this will work more than word of mouth.
Yeah, but but the thing is, referrals is amazing. Referrals are the best customers. But the thing is, though, you have to think about, like, do I want to wait 30 years to build a referral business. If you want to build a business and
won't.
build it
It's
fast,
scalable.
you will. It's not scalable. You can, once you get the customers in your let's call it your sales funnel.
Your portal,
Yeah, and you bring them in, then your job is to give them the ultimate customer experience. And now they become your fan, and then they tell somebody. But until they know who you are nobody. And if you want to spend maybe the rest of your life, 25, 30 years to build that referral business, that's great. But if you're like, I want to try and scale this business, learn what I got to learn, course correct, bring my company from 0 to $1 million, 2 million, 3 million or something, you gotta.
What drive? I know that, like, Thomas, we probably want to wrap it up soon, and you guys are probably getting a little tired as well, right? And then I actually
I'm having fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
good.
I'm having a great time.
Okay, all right. So I'm sure the listeners will totally appreciate that. But I'm also a big fan, and I do want to do another shout out to Thomas. He brought me flowers today.
Yeah.
Because I did a recent post that
I saw
seen
that,
that.
you know.
perfectly fine to give flowers to a
It
man.
is.
Yeah,
Perfectly
good for
fine.
you for posting that, for
So
sure.
and I got a couple of hated notes. You know what I mean? Weak man out there and all this other crap. And then I see Thomas today, and he brings me flowers.
Toxic
Like, you're the best.
masculinity.
You did, eh?
So
That's pretty awesome. I thought of doing that too, because I saw his post.
I was trying
It
to
would have
get
been
you
funny if you guys
cactus
all
or
brought me
something.
I got
flowers.
stuck in traffic. I had no time.
So I wanted to, because there's that balancing act. Like, you guys have families, so there's significant others, there's children, and there's everything like that, and you can't be ultra consumed by your trade. Choose Dahl for your plumbing needs and discover the peace of mind that comes with their unwavering reliability and exceptional service. Experience the Dahl difference and join the growing community of contractors who trust in their expertise and rely on their products. So check them out at www.dahlvalve.com and on social at dahlvalve. To ignore your family. So how do you guys balance that mental?
I don't.
There's no balance.
I have ADHD.
We try to remind them all
there's-
the time, family first. That's
Yes.
how I was brought up.
Yes.
It's all about family. You know, if you got some problems at work or something like that, you're just going to separate it. If you can't work together, don't. You got to keep the love first, and that's
Yes.
family.
Yes.
And when you go home, yeah, I try to do it. You know, running a business and stuff. And I'm always doing paperwork and stuff at night. But you know, I'm also blessed with 2 amazing grandsons. So, you know, and I've got them this weekend. They're coming for the weekend. And you know, like
young
just
are
getting
you,
back.
man?
What's that?
How young are you?
I know it looks like I'm young.
How
Eh?
young are you? You don't have to share.
I'm going to be
Well-
55 in
Oh, you're a youngin',
in about
man.
4 weeks, and
You're a
I'm having a
youngin'.
pretty big party.
You look sick, Sam. You look sick, man.
Tyler
Sick.
told me you hardly work anyways. He has to tell you to get off Instagram all the time. He's like, my dad's always putting his phone up and trying to do videos and stuff. I always have to tell him get to work.
These guys are telling me to stay home. The only reason why they want to come in is so I can ride with them, so they can ride the HOV lane.
So how are you guys? Like, I love that. I love that response, Sam. But how are you guys balancing that? I mean,
I'm an immigrant, so you know, like that's always.
so you're still on Tinder?
It's a bit.
With that accent, not for long.
I came over with my wife, like we're
Okay, all
childhood
right,
sweethearts,
yeah.
so we've been together a long time. But in honesty, that's the one thing like where I see is a big disconnect in the industry as well, is that, you know, like there's a couple of things I would keep in consideration, right? Before you grow your company, don't pay yourself $150,000 a year, because when you do, you're never going to scale your company, and you will always be a slave to $150,000 a year, because we all want that. Consider taking $80,000 a year, delegating some of that work, and staying home with your family.
With the family.
Right? So like
That equation makes sense.
Yeah. That's so
I'm after
true.
being able to build a crew around me, right? And now we do a lot of work. We work 7 days a week. We got multiple buildings, multiple projects going, all sorts of stuff going on. And I'm home every day at 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
I don't stay
Good
up
for
till
you.
2
I love
o'clock
that.
in the morning estimating, and I do not work weekends, and I don't answer the phone.
But you did in
to
the
most
early years,
contractors.
though, right?
I worked 100 hours a week for years and years and years. And often, like I would say, that was my sacrifice to the trade. But also it was to work that many hours and not to bank that much money. And that's where I see the big disconnect with a lot of guys that I know. They're like, yeah, Aaron, I do want to have 10 guys, but I also want to earn $1 million. And I'm like, wow, that's really difficult. Like, that's the hardest part. Like, I want a Porsche too. I want $1 million too. But I also want to build something that's sustainable, that maybe when I'm, 50 odd, I could buy a Porsche. I'll be happy enough with that. You know what I mean? Like,
How are you guys handling the personal life?
I'm
I don't-
battling. I'm battling.
It's a battle.
I don't really have much.
What
of,
is the battle? What is the struggle, guys?
My battle is my wife hates that I hyper focus on everything, and I will not put work down when I come home. My guys can call me at 9 o'clock at night and I answer the phone and have a discussion with them. And it's a battle. She hates it. I blame it on ADHD because I can't put things down. I will give it 110, hyper focus on it.
Yeah.
When I love plumbing, I love plumbing. I'll go home and do research. I just get in it and I can't get out of it. And then my wife hates it. So I'm really battling trying to find that common ground, but I just keep using excuses when I get to this point. When I get to that point, but
you're changing the goal line. That's all you're doing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Rob, how are you?
I think I just love learning, and to be honest with you, I need more of a personal life. I do have a lot of fun. Like I told you, like Aaron was saying, like I do love snowmobiling. I bought myself a brand new top line sled, a Sea-Doo. I love to have fun, so those are my things that I do for myself. But I could use more of a personal life. I'm usually like working on numbers.
You can't let construction consume you.
It
No,
can, but like
absolutely
it
not.
depends on who you are. And like I said, I don't have a family. I'm not married, and I also feel I started a business pretty late. I think I was like 34 when I started, and I feel like I'm really strong, healthy right now, and I feel like this is my chance. And I feel like I'm giving it everything I got. So I spend, instead of going on social media or watching TV, I'm usually like reading. I'm on YouTube. I'm like thinking about this. I'm thinking about that. So I'm spending a lot of time. I'm also aware that this is a commitment that I'm making. Like it's a journey. And I'm kind of like, I want to enjoy my dream while I'm building it. Like, yeah, I could probably have more guys on my team right now, but I feel like I'm learning, I'm growing. This is a lifelong commitment that I am committed to and inspiring people. And I feel like I'm going to enjoy the whole journey. I don't want to look back and say, yeah, I built a business, but like, I wish I bought this or I wish I did that. Like, yeah, I could maybe go out more to bars and clubs, but I feel like that's kind of overrated.
I don't know. I go out to trade shows and talk to other plumbers
like I think
for
that's
fun. Like that's what I
yeah.
do. Like I went to Atlanta to AHR. I'm
you're
doing
consumed
wet.
by the work, right? But it gets me to like top 3 things from all 3 of you, or all 4 of you gentlemen, to build a strong reputation.
Top 3 things.
Yeah. What are the top 3 things?
Shooting for perfect.
Honesty.
Honesty.
Integrity.
Integrity.
Accountability.
Yeah, accountability.
Excellent
Honestly,
service.
yeah.
Yeah.
Service.
Mistakes are always going to happen.
How you
It's
handle
just
those
how you
mistakes.
deal with them, right? And,
Exactly.
and anyone that can realize that's just not a realistic person, and that's what it boils down to at the end of the day, right?
That's a big one.
I say the younger you are, if you are going to start a business or pursue anything meaningful, I say make as many mistakes as you can earlier on and don't be scared. And that's something I wish I would have been a little bit more understanding of when I started Galaxy, because I wouldn't have been so concerned to like, I made all this money or I'm in such a good spot. What happens if I lose it all? Or what happens if I spend it all on marketing and it doesn't work and I'm back at ground zero again? I wish I would have been a little bit more like, you know what? I'm so young. It's time to make mistakes. Like, I'm not saying make costly mistakes and go out there
Well,
and be
you're
like,
supposed to learn from every single
Well,
one. of these.
yeah.
Mistakes in a hard day is a lesson.
Yeah,
that's a
learn.
learning day.
There's no mistakes. It's just lessons.
Lessons.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
they're not
So-
mistakes.
yeah,
they're
good
just
point.
lessons.
Yeah.
And learn as many as you can.
So I want to go back to, because we are entrepreneurs and when there is no pension for us and the government's not going to assist us, right? So financial planning, are we also paying attention to other streams of revenue? Are we looking at what are we looking at investment wise? Or you guys don't have to dive deep into what you're particular doing. Are you guys just milking crypto? Like
There is no saving. There's only investing, right?
Yeah.
The realistics of saving is it's money put away for the day that you're going to spend it. That's the definition of saving. The definition of investing is to use that dollar to make a dollar. I think now in this recent day and age that, like we have Monday morning meetings and I sit down with the guys and, we would start off with our wins. That's where we start. Like everyone, let's talk about a win from last week. They write it down. We all talk about it. We talk about, some of the IRC's issues, roadblocks, challenges that we would come across in a week. And then we always bring that conversation to, don't forget, everybody comes to work to go home from work, and home from work is your most important things, right? Like I value family, like Sam said, it's like my biggest why. It's not to be a businessman and have $1 million. It's nothing got to do with that. I want to be in a financially secure position, being an immigrant, so that, when I'm a bit older, I can enjoy my time with my daughters, and I'm willing to put in what I have to put in now for that time in the future.
So everyone is financially planning, preparing. You guys are working on things. It's part of the business. It's educated. It's contributed because technically.
I think you should be offering programs for the guys, and we're not there. Like, we just recently started our benefits program. We only got that a couple of weeks ago, which is really a
But I love hearing non-union small mom and pop businesses
You have to.
are offering that for employees.
We have to. It's expensive.
It is.
It's an expensive hit to the business, but it's worth it because you're going to drive in the good employees.
Well, you got to attract. You got to attract quality talent. You definitely got to attract quality talent and retain them.
Yeah.
So I think talking about retirement and, you know, maybe finding a way of bringing in a financial advisor into your company, and, you know, having an open dialogue about that the youth of today understand that is huge. And I think it does fall on the ownership of company owners, because let's face it, like, you know, if I was to say work with a guy and say I worked with him for 25, 30 years and his knees are shot and his elbows are gone and his fingers are bleeding, and at the end of the day he turns to me and says, you know what, Aaron, it's a great run, but you did well, didn't you? And I say, fuck, buddy, do you not have a pension? All right? Now, just saying, like as an owner, like, I care about that. Like, I genuinely do care about that. That's just the truth. So, like, I just wouldn't want to work anybody into that position, personally speaking. So if I could put a way that, you know, I can assist in that for somebody, I know that's in the future for expert plumbing. You know?
I can see the resumes just piling up on your desk right now after this podcast.
But yeah, like, at what point, Sam, were you looking at your business that way too?
We're always trying to figure out what we want to do and stuff. And I think, like Aaron said, it's investment. So, you know, there are some times with a smaller business, non-union and stuff like that, when are you going to get the time to figure out what's going on and stuff? You're going to do some of that stuff quarterly because you just don't have the time to do it all the time, or you can't do it weekly because you're like you said, you're working 6 days a week and stuff. So having said that, you're always going to try to reinvest. I'm always putting money and tools back onto the truck. I have the world's best tools on my truck, and I have 2 of them. They're identical. You open the back doors to either one of them, and the stuff is all in the same spot, almost the same spot. And we try to always reinvest in that. And then you take the money and you kind of invest it. And you got to make those payments monthly to think about that future because, you know, I've been in it for a long time. I'm a bit of an old dog and stuff, you know. Did I starting off by investing properly back in the early 90s? Probably not, you know. And, you know, my business is only 15 years old. But in that first 10 years, it's like somebody told me, the first 10 years is a massive learning curve. Yeah. And you're investing in all tools and all new innovation. And guess what? There's innovations that are going to come out next year. And I may be interested in it. And I may invest in it. So you're always reinvesting in it, but the company is still making money all the time. And that's what you want to do.
I'm very grateful that I was brought up. Well, I was very, very lucky to get into Local 46 as a union plumber. And ever since I was 18, I was making top wages. And I was also very lucky that my mom, my dad, and my uncle realized how much money I was making at 18 to 23. And they're like, you better do something with your money. And they made me start investing in some real estate. And I bought a couple properties. And if it wasn't for doing that, I would do a lot of side jobs. So that was all of my expense cash for going out, partying. But all my check money was going into, because I lived with my parents, and that's what I was telling my apprentices. I'm like, if you live at home, stay at home and have a plan and save your money, invest your money, because if it wasn't for that, I would have never got to 33, had a home that I paid $700,000 for in a great area, and realized, like, you know what? I'm starting a business. And I was able to do that. And if it wasn't for, without really knowing it, having a plan and saving and doing side jobs and making those sacrifices, I wouldn't have arrived, I think.
Financial literacy.
Here.
Financial literacy
but
is a
you
big
know,
thing.
construction's not known for that.
No, not at all. But you have to break the boundaries. Like,
But even most industries,
you have to break the boundaries in, and as leaders, as people who run businesses, you have to break the boundaries and help these kids out. Because you have to teach them that, because maybe their parents didn't teach them. A lot of the people that are coming into trades,
school didn't teach them.
No, school didn't teach them, and their parents are usually get people that Not saying they all had horrible parents, but a lot of the guys that I have, they've had a tough upbringing.
Yeah, but
and they're trades guys,
but
work with their hands.
A lot of people's parents didn't really know any better. Like,
No,
there's
you're
a lot
right.
of people that just didn't know better. I just happened to be lucky where a few of my parents, they put their money together as Europeans that came to Canada, and they realized the only way to kind of get ahead as brothers and sisters, they would pool their money together, and they bought one property and one. And then my mom taught me as a kid, like, you're going to open up a savings account. And I'm like, okay, great, Mom. And I took my $6.50.
It's tougher today, though, with the price of everything and how it's costing. And now we're talking multi-level, and it's just a whole different landscape.
It is,
right?
and that's why I kind of wanna work my ass off now to inspire the generation, because I think being an entrepreneur is so important now for creativity, and I feel like it's so important now more than ever. And I think a lot of people are resonating with that, where they feel like they're getting duped by that 9-to-5 job. They might not know it, but they're like, there's something wrong here, and it's out there. And I think a lot more people are being like, you're telling me I could go with my mobile device and I can start a side hustle and generate this much revenue from my home?
But as long as everybody's on the same page, because the thing is, being on your phone, on a smartphone, on an active job site, just like how you had your earbuds earlier on, and then...
No, we're talking after work. This is
I know, but you're getting a lot of tradespeople that are constantly on their phone, whether they're playing crypto or they're playing games or they're looking at... Like, that's just a waste of time, right? So I wanted to ask you guys, because I love that this whole roundtable idea, it's all about community and not competition. And obviously, there's no competitors here. You guys are all looking at each other as if you guys are wanting to work with each other. Are there situations that you guys have collaborated with some other people in the industry to work on a project, or thrown work to other people?
I mean, we're at GC, we do it every day.
Yeah.
So hey, we're
plumber
always
wise though, have you guys collaborated with other plumbers? You have, Rob. I know you have.
I've done that with actually numerous plumbers in the past. And
Me and Rob banged off a job there.
Yeah, we killed it.
We killed it.
I literally got a call one day. It was the most random
awesome.
call, and I'm like, I was just thinking, it was time sensitive, this and that. It was pretty heavy duty
job.
commercial, and I was like, I definitely am not equipped for this kind of a job, especially this rapid pace. I thought of Aaron right away. I called him. It was so crazy. It was like on a whim. Him and his estimator went there. I went and met him. Bam, 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 bam. We next, there's holes being dug. We're running 4-inch PVC.
400 feet.
Yeah, 400 feet. Impact drills in the mud.
Are you doing it, Sam? Or
Yeah, so the answer to the question is, yeah, we do. We collaborate. Sometimes, like, I'm a small business. I've only got 2 trucks. And I've got people that need something done. They don't want to wait tomorrow. And it's fine.
what's
if they
the
don't
average
want to,
business these days? How many trucks does the average plumber have these days?
It all depends. It depends on what you're doing, too, in terms of plumbing. But for what we do, we only have 2 trucks, and the guy needs service. So I've thrown work to Aaron. I've gone on to Rob's site. He's needed some help to finish up a house. It was a couple of years ago. We went there, and we just keep in touch. The customer needs help. We're gonna reach out and send them to that.
100%. You got to keep, like, I've used the other contractors that are used other plumbers, because at the end of the day, if you can't service the customer, as long as that customer is taken care of and they're happy, that's all that really matters. Like, if I can't get there, it's like, call the next guy that I believe is like I trust. That'll take care of the customer. As long as the customer is happy, they're like, okay, I'm just happy that you took care of me.
We know that the younger generation doesn't know how to communicate the way we know how to communicate, because you actually talk to a person versus texting to a person, right? Emojiing to a person and DMing a person.
Looking at a person.
Yeah.
And communicating.
Yeah. My God.
This is so weird. There's 4 bodies here. I'm talking to them about plumbing, right? And you guys are kind of holding me in the same regard, even though I don't swing a wrench, right? So I still solder and I still prefer copper. But how can you educate these people to have better communication skills? Because they're going to need it to deal with other suppliers. They're going to need other tradespeople. They're going to need it for clients, servicing.
Yeah. We say about your plumbing license, we compare it to a driving license, right? It's like, congratulations, you're awarded a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
Like, don't swipe it too hard, like, and that's just the truth of it, like, because like, sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
I know about communication.
Yeah, about communication. So that's what we tell them. Like, it's the whole, buddy, you could be the best plumber in the world,
But
right?
if you can't communicate.
And like, if you go to the GC, like you're such a good plumber that you're frustrated with his level. So you, like, you like you show a bad side of yourself, and he doesn't care that you're the best plumber in the world. He cares that you leave his job site and never return. Yeah. Like, just like we had a guy like, and he can plumb things, and I had a GC ask him not to come back to the job because he wouldn't say hello to him. And it's like, buddy, like this is basic. Like,
oh my gosh,
get on the job site and just say hello. What's
bring him
up?
a coffee or something.
How's
Like,
it going?
you know?
I just had a customer earlier today. He goes, we had one of my guys fell through a ceiling. He stepped back, misstep, and went right through the kitchen ceiling. Didn't go through.
Just a leg.
Just a leg.
Holy
but he went through.
cow.
And like, so I had to call, and I'm like apologizing. I'm so sorry. No, I'm happy he's fine. I'm like, let me know what the charges are. We'll pay. We'll eat it. It's fine. This and that. And they're like, we don't care. Like, we love you guys because your guy actually communicates with us. We have a lot of plumbers that come on site that literally be like, is this what I'm doing here? Yep. Okay. And they won't say
grunting.
nothing. Yeah. They're cavemen.
grunting,
They're
yeah.
cavemen.
And homeowners and other tradespeople don't want grunting.
Yeah. I say, back when I was in the union, I used to say that because I was always service in the hall, and I was like a weird breed. But I always said construction guys in the hall were cavemen because they just grunted at people. It was like, put that pipe up there.
To all you young guys listening out there, to all you people, you have such a great opportunity in the next 10 years because most of society is becoming more useless and can't communicate and none of that stuff.
If you becoming more useless.
Yeah, without the internet or a computer, they cannot even hang a picture on the wall. They cannot do a lot of common things that our parents, your parents know how to do. And guess who they got to pay? You. And if you can communicate and you like people, you are going to be so well off and you are going to kill the game.
I'm curious if a blue genie came out of this podcast right now, if you guys could be another trade, what would it be?
HVAC.
100%,
man.
Sam?
Oh my God.
HVAC as well.
HVAC? Aaron?
I don't believe you have to be another trade to do HVAC.
No,
fine. Elevator technician.
I know mechanical is in my future.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I know at some stage I'll be HVAC too.
HVAC.
I basically dance on the HVAC line already because it's
HVAC
heating.
and plumbing go hand in hand. That's why in the States it's plumbing HVAC.
Yeah.
And that's why I love HVAC. I think it's fascinating. At this point, plumbing is a vent, a drain, a water. Like HVAC is like, that's another thing. Where are we trending to? Like modern HVAC, like
I hope no
boilers.
HVAC guys listen to this podcast and
They
just
probably
get all
will,
over.
but-
Get all over
But
me.
if you go back to Europe and you talk HVAC and talk boilers, like that's
a
plumber.
different-
That's a plumber, yeah.
That's a wet
so
dream.
So like that's my background though as a plumber. You know, like when I came to Canada, that was the big difference that I seen was like, oh wow, like the separation of plumbers over here is really really different. You know, whereas in Europe, like a plumber is servicing your boilers, doing your install.
Yeah, but to be honest,
They almost don't even call themselves
yeah,
plumbers.
but-
they call them heating engineers is what they call
Yeah,
themselves.
but Europe,
I'm going to change mine to an elevator technician.
But Europe has generally always
Just
been known
because
for
they make so much money.
craftsmanship. Europe has always been known for craftsmanship.
It's different though, right?
It's totally different.
I think we're a little backwards. We're definitely not the epicenter, and I'm sorry to say for the American listeners, they're not the epicenter either. I'm sorry, but I'm just.
I know a
always
lot
been-
of guys
I
on
think
social
it's-
media, like a lot of the guys on social media, some of the greatest guys that like some of the most talented plumbers and HVAC guys I know on social media
They're Europe.
don't even have a license because in that state they don't need one. They work under somebody else. They don't have a gas license. They're not a plumber. They're technically a laborer, and they do some of the most fantastic hydronic walls and
Well,
boilers.
having
and
a
stuff.
driver's license in this country, in this city,
Yeah.
doesn't make you a better driver.
No, I know exactly.
it never has.
Because hydronics is unregulated, and a lot of guys are gonna probably hate me for this one, is that, you know, like it's almost of a difference of opinion. And the only good hydronics guys are the guys who can prove their efficiencies and that they don't follow manufacturer's specifics because they were given a diagram. If you can't run your heat loss calculations and you don't understand the science of it, all you are doing is what somebody else tells you to do. And unless you can prove that that works, it's great that your mechanical room looks great. But like,
If it's not functional.
Yeah, but come on, man. Like if
You
you've
know?
been doing heating for 50 years, then you're gonna probably have that high level of education. You've done a million installs.
Adam just said
the
it,
wife
like, the
cheated
top
on
guys
me.
don't know
I
what's
don't
happening.
know.
Dude,
I got
yeah.
a drug problem. I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter if you
I'm
got
just
50
saying,
years.
you know how many years of level of experience, how many installs you have to do to get to that level where you look at stuff from like, I think we need a tri indicator there, and we maybe need a check.
I get it.
Like
I don't know. I think it's like anything. If you wind it back to the basics, and that, like, if you can't understand the basics and install a basic system, that if you're jumping to advanced, jumped off manufacturers, recommendations, you're just going to run into a world that you can't control. And like, I have gone into jobs where, we're like a job now where we're in a building, we're troubleshooting a heat exchanger. We're like the 10th plumbing company in there. And, I bring my specialist in, we take a look at this together, and it's like, unless you know the science of plumbing and you can scale it back.
But how many
That's
years?
my
How many
favorite,
years
though. I
does?
love
How
doing
many
that.
years? How many years does the specialist have? How many years of experience on site does he have? 5, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years?
But then you
But
shouldn't sell systems
I'll
you don't
argue the
understand.
point that, like, you could have 50 years, you can have 1 year.
And do it
Doesn't
all
matter.
wrong. I get it. But when
Right?
you're dealing with mechanical systems, they are so intricate and so different. Every building, every install is so different. Like,
But you almost have to re-educate yourself.
That's
all
the
over.
issue.
But- yeah,
Start
but
all
the
over.
problem- but
the
that's-
science
that's-
is the same.
Yes.
no, the science is the same, but the space is not the same, and the systems can be piped and synchronized in so many
Which brings
different
me to
ways.
my next point where, okay, obviously, is the government doing enough for tradespeople in the construction industry?
No.
No.
No. Is it 4 no's or what?
Yeah, 4 no's.
Well, all they're
Rob's on the
offering-
fence. I can't believe you're on the fence.
Well, no, but I'm
Are
just
you
saying-
going for mayor?
No, but no, I'm just trying to.
Well,
I
there's
just want.
15,000
I
other
just want to
people.
think through really like.
Are they doing enough? Can they do more?
They can do more, but
Are they really doing enough for most
Well, it's-
industries other than something that's?
well, I don't
but
know
that's
about
a different
other- yeah,
conversation.
exactly.
there
But
should
that's what
be
I'm
an
saying.
incentive to take apprentices. Like they
Thank
got.
you.
They
And
could-
I've argued that point over and over
there-
on this show.
There should be at least a tax break.
But
for
guess
this.
what?
I
But
argued
gue-
that
but gue-
over
but
and
guess
over.
what?
In
Guess,
BC they
but
have
guess
it.
what? Trades aren't a good business for the government. They do
How
business.
is building infrastructure
but
for
major-
a city
but
is
major-
not
not good
good
for the-
business?
I'm talking about universities and colleges, which are major revenue generators that generate
They're
billions
major
of dollars.
no, they're not major. Okay, they are
Revenue
They're
generators.
networking hubs. Universities and colleges are networking hubs. Families of families
No,
are
I-
networking
I-
with each
I-
other.
I-
My son, daughter is going to go to this school because your son, daughter's there,
fine.
and they're going to get a job with you. That's what it is.
No, but it's more than that. They're a part of a system that
But
breeds.
the money that's being bred from those educational systems, like we've argued this on the show so
No,
many
there's-
times, the money you spend on a trades career versus the money you spend on any other degree.
You
or-
technically barely spend money on a trades
Yeah.
career. You get
But
paid.
I
you
am-
do the
paid to
career.
go to
but
school.
But that's
$1,000
fine.
grant
But
every year.
What are revenue generators for? We're talking cities and federal governments. They're basically like universities where it's like $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 a year. You bring people in here, you throw them through these curriculums. That's our revenue generators. Educating tradespeople, it probably to them doesn't generate billions of dollars.
But if they
that's
were
why their
focusing
incentive is
more
there.
on that, you first of all, you would streamline a lot of the construction that goes on in either commercial or residential, whatever, and buildings, and you wouldn't have an LRT that's still being built. You wouldn't have an archaic subway system that's from the 1940s in this particular city.
But who's to
that's
say
trying
that?
compete.
But who's to say that doesn't benefit the people
It
that are part of that system that are basically
It
involved?
benefits wealthy people.
That's what I'm saying.
But the thing is, then you breed lazy people to work on those servicing priorities of those businesses.
And I understand.
And
that,
I
but
know people that go into the infrastructure of these union-related businesses that just enjoy their service call, where they'll work 10 hours and they'll get paid for 40, and they'll sit around for those 10
But that's
hours. right?
because the company that is probably
You're right.
owned.
I'm sorry, but it's just, and that's what I'm saying is like you almost want someone to just kind of revamp, but you can't because you got to fight corruption and unions.
But that's what I'm
and
saying.
politicians
There's
and
a
all this
reason
other
why
stuff.
it's like that
So
because
I started with the whole. Sorry, I don't because we're getting close to wrapping because I'm not tired. I can keep on going for days. But the thing is, our programs like OYAP, which a lot of money is being pumped into. You guys get a kid from OYAP, and I hear most of the time that kid doesn't know anything.
But it's just
Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, right?
It's a right. Well, look. Like,
yeah, but it's just
But also the skills colleges of trades, right? Where you got programs that are selling the idea that you can learn how to be a plumber for $10,000 if you're here for 3 months, and then they get dropped on your job site and they don't know nothing.
But to be
warning
honest,
to everybody out there: do not go on one of those courses.
I know, but they're
Find
convincing
yourself
18,
But
19-year-olds to get the money from the parents.
To be
go
honest,
there.
it's an introduction into the trades, and like I told many students, like
walking into Sam's van is an
Okay.
introduction into
I'll
trades.
I'll give one
But,
out there
okay,
to the
but-
guys for an introduction, right? Instead of spending that much money on getting yourself on a course, how about you take a hit and you find someone like Sam or someone and say, hey, like if I came to work for you for
for
the
free.
summer and I didn't charge you, you know, could I tag along?
Shadow.
There you go. Like that.
Shadow,
Save yourself some
work,
money.
Yeah,
let
but
me
it's-
work a
and
week,
that-
and
but-
if I'm valuable to you, then you pay me after that. Like, let me show you that I'm valuable.
And those are the ones that have the passion and stuff. And believe it or not, I have a kid that wants to come next week. He took that course. He wants to find somebody. He wants to work something. He wants to come for the first day and just shadow and cut some pipe. And he says he doesn't want to get paid. You know what that tells me? It tells me he has a passion. He wants to see what we do. He wants to learn. He doesn't need to get paid. He's not coming if you don't pay him. You don't give me gas money for travel allowance to get to your
Uber.
job. You know, Uber or something like that. You know, like it's the ones that really, their car broke, they took a taxi to work, or they took an Uber taxi. I'm dating myself. But anyways, you know.
what was this?
That's what you do.
Saying?
because-
What's the saying? There's a saying. It's do more than what you're worth, so you can do less. So you can do less for more money later on, or something. There's a saying like that. Like it's like I grinded as a first, second, third year. Like I went through it. Like I did 38-hour days. I didn't say no. And I remember going over to Black and Mac and not knowing anything in commercial. And my journeyman said to my manager, said, the kid doesn't know nothing. But when I call him at 3 a.m, he's there.
Yeah.
And that's all I care about.
Yeah. For
And
sure.
like, I didn't
Dedication.
care about hours. I just went. That was it,
Dedication.
because
But
I learned.
Are the new crop doing that?
It's rare.
So from what I'm hearing, you
I
know,
think it
I got
depends.
my
I
I
think
got my
like-
business with my 3 sons. So I've been pretty fortunate enough that I've
You're
just
lucky.
I'm lucky. And that's what I'm doing. But from what I understand is there isn't too much of the drive that there used to be from the older generation like myself.
Well, in
or
the hall-
any of us that
in the
we've done.
hall, they had to have a meeting with all the apprentices when I was there, and they had the thought in their head that they had to get paid to learn anymore. And there is literally they're like, you want me to learn how to do that? You're going to pay me and pay me to do training to do it. And they had a whole meeting with all the apprentices to be like, if you want to make more money and you want to be somewhere, you got to invest the time outside of work.
Yes.
You got to do the research outside of work.
Yes.
And it was literally all the apprentices at Local 67 that they had to bring in and be like, you guys want to get paid for training from all these companies, and you're wondering why you're not going to get work. You don't know anything because you're not investing the time in yourself when you leave. And that's the problem with this society. Like, I give my guys books. I'm like, yo, you're interested in this? Like, one guy loves drain cleaning. I'm like, I don't know why you like drain cleaning, but I make money on it. Here, I will invest all that time. One guy wants to learn heating. I went to hot rods and I brought him to training. I was like, if you have a passion for it, I will bring it in. You know what I mean?
You'll feed it.
I'll feed that passion.
Sure.
But it's
to
just
be honest, I think a lot of learning is done off the job. When you do an install, you reflect on your day and you look at it and you're like, you pick it apart. Like, how could I did this better? What could I do there? How could I have done that? And that's why I try to tell Nicholas and Adam, I'm like, you know, when you do something, think about like, how could I have done this better? Or I'm happy with my install, but if I did that, and visualize it, the next time you go and do that install, you're going to be well prepared. There's a lot of installs that we go into. I'll kind of visualize it, draw it out before we go in there, so I'm prepared. And I think that's,
It's
Have you-
funny.
Sorry,
Dan's actually said on the podcast, says, I listened to a few of your podcasts before I came in. I listened to Dan's one, and he literally said in it, you can't be passionate about something if you're not good at it. Right?
True.
He did say that. And like, you have to find something that you feel good at for you to have a passion for it. And that's why, like, my guy that loves drain cleaning, he's like, I'm good at this. I want to go into it.
I love that he did a story this morning where he was saying, I don't know anything about the construction life, never listened to a single episode, but I'm going to be on it tonight.
Yeah, I'm just straight. I'm a straight shooter. I've never been on it. I've never listened to it. The owner of the business, Logan, my cousin, he's like, oh, I know those guys. And my brother, actually, Connor Gordon, he was like, I know those guys. I was like, man, fuck, I've never heard of them, but I'll go on it. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Is there, have you guys built your dream plumbing project? Have you guys achieved that unicorn?
Haven't even come
Can you
close.
elaborate on that? What
I don't know if you come to a client and they actually said, "This is what I want you to plumb," and you said, "Well, that's my unicorn. That's what I want to build." Right? I've always been itching to build, because you guys come in and it's almost the same over and over and over, right? But if you guys actually,
No, we're different. Like honestly, that's like finding your niche. Like another thing I would say to people starting out is be very careful with your niche, right, Sam? Like you've done that very, very well, right?
I found my niche and I'm
like,
sticking with it.
yeah.
I'm fishing
Good.
that pond really good. And I think we do it really well. We make mistakes just like anybody else. I'll just let you guys know that.
Yeah.
And you got to be a man
Sam's
to
got
admit it.
outfill and lockdown. But it's true, right? Like in fairness, when you find your niche and you can get really good at it, because if you want to scale a business, like maybe start with a niche, get really good at it, and then figure what's next from there.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm branching out. What I'm doing is learning the hydronics thanks to Aaron, who pointed me in the direction of that fantastic retired teacher, Warren. The guy's an amazing guy. So we found our thing. We've done it. We've gone into the houses now. We've put in the latest and greatest stuff. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Hand-painted toilets, gold faucets. You know what I mean? Like, some of these houses are pretty...
those flowery toilets you put in are pretty cool. Like,
sick.
it's not my thing, but they're
Hand-painted.
sick.
But-
No, thank
who's
you.
making,
I don't want
who's
hand-painted.
making hand-painted toilets?
Kohler?
No.
Well, who's...
Do they
I
look
wouldn't be
nicer with
surprised.
smears or
There's a
what?
name on the toilet, and they just stamped their name over top of the toilet. And I tried to get specs on this, and I couldn't even get it at all. And it turns out it's just a Toto toilet that they just put their own plate, brass plate on top of it. They get somebody. They take it all apart. They
Clever.
put it in. They paint it and fire it up, and then put the rubber parts back into the tank and
So
stuff like
smart.
that.
So smart.
Anyways, the point that I was saying is I found my niche. We did it. We've done some pretty amazing projects with me and my 3 sons. We can look back. We drive by the house and say, "Hey, remember that one? Remember when you said that stupid joke in that place or whatever you did, you know, that stuff." But now we're branching out to the hydronics. I wanted to learn everything. And thanks to Aaron, he did that. So I'm at the point in my career that I want to just branch out a little bit more, but I'm doing it small and I want to keep it going because the name Sam the Plumber, if you've got that, I don't want it to be Sam the Plumber super stretched. I mean, your bandwidth is your bandwidth and you got to stay and work in your bandwidth and you're going to be really good at it. That's what I think.
You got to constantly be wanting to learn. Like, I got into hydronics by myself. One of the first custom houses I started in Oakville, all in copper. And the guy's like, "You know how to do hydronics?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know how to do hydronics." I had no
Fake
idea
it till you make it.
what the hell I was doing. I literally read the Upanor book front to back. And then I worked with next Steve Goldie, which is amazing. And this was before I met Orest. And I can honestly tell you the craziest thing I ever did, 5,550 feet of pecs I laid on my hands and knees. My first project. I nailed every clip. That's how determined I was. I did a 2-zone system, my first in-floor heating job, started that system up, and it worked flawlessly. But I was talking about committed. I was committed because I was like, I never wanted to be just a plumber. That's a vent. That's a water line. I just want it to be more than that.
It's funny.
And you just got to go out.
The only section I got perfect on my Red Seal was
I don't even have Red
steam
Seal.
and heating.
This was before Red Seal. I got my license.
Steam and heating because it's all when I was a second year in school, they were like, "Okay, we're going to teach you hydronics." Not a lot of people understand this in plumbing. And as soon as the teacher said that, I was like, this is what I want to learn because I want to know this because nobody else knows this.
Well,
Yeah,
you should.
you know what I mean?
But you should know that. That's why, like, getting our license 5 years in the trade, to be honest with you, that's an introduction into your trade, 5 years. I don't think you'll really even get to the point of being skilled at a trades until you're about, or anything, I say 10 years.
What do you guys
10
get excited about these days in plumbing? What excites you when you guys
Pro
see
press.
this? when you see the schedule and you see the list of jobs to do and you see what's
Mechanical.
on the grocery list.
Mechanical.
For me, it's the bigger the reach. Like so, like what I've kind of concentrated on this year is to push away from even the decent sized jobs that we're doing and get bigger jobs, right? So now, like even we're outsourcing some estimating just to kind of get our numbers up. We're watching our monthly numbers of estimating, but between me and Mike, there's only so much estimating that can be done. Now we can reach out further to attract more attention, and then we can outsource some of that estimating to see if that we can bring in some new clients and land some of those jobs. So the bigger you get, it's that there's a better dollar value in the bigger jobs than multiple small jobs.
Adam?
When a customer says I've had 10 plumbers here and I can't figure it out, and I go in and figure it out. I love that. It honestly, my
Always
ego,
figure it out?
I 90% of the time I'm the one that figures it out. And I got that from the guy I learned from. His name's Sean Bishop, and he was very well known in the hall. If I ever went back to the hall and said I learned from Sean Bishop, I can get a job anywhere. Because they're like, if you can last with that guy, because he was
tough?
He went
fair.
through 10 apprentices with me, and like he like threatened a guy with a pipe wrench, and like he was like rough around the edges.
That's not a threat.
But
That's fact.
but he literally was a wealth of knowledge, and I learned so much from him just from the diagnostics side of things. And he always said, you just got to break plumbing down to just the basics, water going through pipes, and just break it down and think about it and think how it's going and think how it's moving. And most of the time I can figure it out. And most of the time it's something basic that other plumbers just didn't break it down, make it simple. Like Hamilton Hospital, their toilets and everything, their whole cold line was full of hot water. And their toilets are full of hot water. Everything was full of hot water. And we're like, I'm scratching my head. I can't figure it out. Go into a laundry sink, a laundry mop sink. They had the line open and it would cross connect over the weekend. And the whole line was filled with cold, hot water. And they're like, we've had so many plumbers here to figure it out. And I was like, yeah, there you go. It's figured out. And they're like, what
Here's
the
the
hell?
invoice.
Yeah, here you go.
We've seen buildings plumbed wrong where, we've seen buildings plumbed wrong where, that would be the outcome of it, where the hot would push into the cold because the PSI and the hot would be greater than the cold. And at any point where you had a single-use faucet or something, that it would basically wear the seals away and push itself back.
Really?
Yeah, like we had a high rise in Toronto, and like on a couple of the risers, we basically had to install check valves on each of the units to isolate it to the units. It was happening so much.
Yeah, because hot has a bigger expansion than cold, right? Expansion and contraction. So hot will always push into that cold line. I just had it this week too with one of our houses. He opened his temperature control valve and he was using his hose outside, and he was like, "Man, all my toilets, everything's hot." And I was like, went over there, looked at control valve, turned it. I was like, because he had an instant hot water tank. And I'm like, well, as soon as you run your hose, your instant hot water tank is like starting to run. So there's got to be a cross connection somewhere. Figured it out. And he's like, what the hell?
Rob, what gets you excited?
Mechanical. Anything mechanical.
Anything mechanical?
I can't wait to get into more mechanical stuff like apartment buildings, condos. That's where I want to start pushing into. Residential for me, I like it, but I feel like at this point, it's like what gets me excited is like I need to learn more about big stuff, pumps.
Sam?
For me, it's, I like the mechanical part of it too, but for me, it's, again, a family business with my kids and just building bigger homes. I mean, I just last week, I quoted probably the most expensive house that I've ever had to do, and I just sent it last week.
How many square feet?
About 20.
Wow.
And,
Jeez.
Nice.
yeah.
How many bathrooms?
10. So 10. So
How
basically
many mechanical rooms?
2.
Two.
And there's sinks everywhere. But
Four
anyways,
in
the point
supply?
that I was saying is that the most of our houses are between 6 and 9 bathrooms. We have 3 houses that have 9 bathrooms. We haven't even started them yet. So they're a little bigger. So what I like is the grand scale of that, because the big scale is going to have some amazing detail. Amazing detail, like some of your walls and stuff like that. So the things you haven't seen. And,
I did that, eh?
And that right there, that music bar, that
Yeah,
that's-
I did that.
yeah.
I think that's very cool. And you're
You
gonna
had
see
to have
details
done that.
like that.
Come on.
That stuff makes me at the end of the job to put it all together and then walk away from a hole in the ground. It looks pretty cool. I like that stuff.
Quickly, I'm just curious because I never even brought it up, but tank or tankless?
Depends on the house. Depends on the house.
Yeah.
How long you plan on living there?
Depending,
You know?
depends on the
Really?
space.
Depends on the house.
Depends on the requirements, the space, the environment.
Bit of an investment, let's face it, it's probably double the price for a hot water tank. But
Combi boiler with storage tank.
yeah, there you go.
See, that's my thought.
That's right there. That's the best
Yeah,
of
but
both
wait.
worlds.
Depending on the space, depending on the requirements, like that might be overkill for a single family dwelling with like 3 bathrooms.
Okay,
Why would you
electric
need
hot
that?
water tank with a heat pump. That's the future too, right?
What kind of hot water tank though? What kind of heat pump?
It is
Bradford White.
It is until you start converting everybody's garage to an electric EV charging station, and hydro rates go through the roof.
Oh yeah,
And then we have a blackout again. Then we have a blackout again.
I can't wait for that.
Then
stuff.
Quebec is going to be a mess because
what I was
they
talk-
prefer electric heat and everything.
I was talking about a guy about that the other day, and he actually brought up an interesting point: is that if you are going to do one of those chargers in your garage, that consider it to be a warm space, because the statistics that they'll give you on those charging rates will be based off a warm space. So in here in North America, if you're going to put one of them in your garage,
You're gonna be twice the price.
yeah, you might want to make that a warm space.
I never even
right?
thought about that.
Well,
Yeah,
just
for
like
sure.
when you get your gas mileage on the sticker of a pickup truck, it's like that's based on the highway at 90 kilometers on the most straightest road in perfect environment. They always base it on perfect.
I know you guys are more commercial side, but the thing is, how important is water efficiency for your clients?
Huge.
What's
Huge, yeah.
what's water efficiency like?
Well, just designing systems that actually become more efficient, so then it's better, so you're not consuming as much water.
Well,
It's huge, right?
well, water recirculation, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a huge topic to me, because it's like you get into custom homes, like, are you recirculating each washroom group? Are you doing that with multiple pumps? Like, how is that a fit? Like, so, like, if you have 11 washrooms, 9 washrooms, how much water do you want on demand? Do you want water on demand like a hotel, or do you want to run a central loop, and then off that you're going to have, lengths of PEX, say 50 feet long? Well, the delay on the hot water going down those runs is not going to be like it is if you group each of those washroom groups and you run back, say, a recirc line for each fixture group, right? Like if you were to pair them up into washrooms or kitchens. But then at that stage, are you going to lose efficiency by putting 9 pumps on? Or do you know how to
No,
put the
you balance
in?
it. Yeah, you balance the system. You put
Yeah.
one pump, you balance the system, and that's what you do. Yeah, just like we've come a long way from the first mechanical rooms where you see on Instagram. It's like, yeah, I got 10 zones with 10 pumps going.
Yeah.
It's like, why not just use zone valves with one pump?
So
and,
we're
and-
selling hot water recirculation. Like, we're trying to like break it down in an estimate to be competitive. But to
Energy-
say, okay, like, well, how on demand do you want this? Like, are you willing to wait 20 seconds, 10 seconds? You want it in 3 seconds? Because then we have the
It's all
zone.
part of the design.
Are
Are
the
your
zone-
clients
It's a
asking
mechanical.
for it, Sam?
We give it to them. We put it in there anyways. The houses are so big. I got to run a recirc line up to.
Yeah.
I run it up to the primary.
But they're not having a conversation with you about saving the planet, right?
No, they're not. They're not doing that. But we're gonna put a recirc line in, because you know what? It's all about your own eco footprint that you want to leave behind
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That's
people,
very important.
Also, people don't know what they don't know, right? Like if they're not working with the right contractor, building their house, they don't know what they don't know, and sometimes they just don't know. So it's up to working with the right professional to help guide you. Just like if you're buying a car or a piece of equipment, you would hope that the person you're buying is educated enough that can guide you, because you're not going to know every single thing, right?
I'll throw out a big one in the industry, right? Check the flow rate on PEX. Check the flow rate on your recirc pumps.
I just happen to have
And
that.
and make sure that you're not. In all honesty, like I had the Upanor
couple
rep
of prayers.
in the office the other day, and he was the first person to say it. Like, there's no half-inch recirc lines if you're using PEX.
No.
They all got to be 3/4.
Yeah.
Right.
I've
It-
never seen anybody set up a half inch.
Mo-
Well, why would you?
Most people are running. I would say 90% of the industry are running half-inch recirc lines.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, though, the only job of the recirc is to prevent water from being stagnant, right? So you're not supposed to create massive amounts of flow. I guess if you're doing 20,000, 30,000 square feet, you're going to have a certain line with a certain GPMs.
But your pump, your
It-
basic hot water recirculation pump will exceed the gallons per minute advised on PEX, which it will ultimately cause pitting. And
Is that what's happening with Upanor right now?
well,
with
that's
them
why they're
failing.
They're failing.
Yeah.
And
Do
like,
they know they're failing?
yeah.
Oh, they do.
Because it's they're not what they're saying. It's clearly in the handbook. You just got to read it. It is in there. That's
Read the instructions.
yeah. Like that's what I'm saying is that
Most stuff is oversized as well, too. So there's
everyone
probably
oversizes
exactly. There's
pumps.
excess friction and heat.
Because people can't do their head loss
Yeah,
calculations.
yeah.
And, like, so when we're running recirc lines now, like, we're counting the footage of pipe, right? We understand for your 90s, like, what type of loss you have, friction loss.
Of course.
If you bend PEX, what type of friction loss? So there's a different ratio for, I think, for every...
There's a friction loss for bending?
Oh, yeah, when you bend the PEX even,
Oh, I'm
right?
sure it doesn't
So you can
stay-
buy them...
not as much, but
you can
still
buy the
friction loss.
manual 90. I think, like, don't quote me on this because I could be way off. But I think on a 1/2 inch fitting, like you're adding like 10 feet of pipe on a crimp fitting, right? When you're talking 1/2 inch, as in like a headlock.
Because the actual fitting actually reduces it down to the interior
and
diameter.
it slows it down that much with the sharpness.
I know. I
of the
just
bend.
happen to
Well,
have how much
there's
does
no
PEX
sloop.
reduce flow? So at rate of 8 feet per second, the CPVC fitting will cause less than 1% restriction in flow, while PEX fittings create 23 to 54 reduction in
Now-
flow, depending
Wow.
on the fitting used. So how many gallons per minute is a 3/4 inch copper pipe? Basically, you're looking at why is this covered up? 3.2 to 6.5 gallons per minute on a 3/4 inch copper.
Yeah. So,
But on a pipe on PEX, it's 20 grams. So why is PEX 20 gallons per minute more than a copper? I thought it was the other way around.
Maybe less fittings to make up for it, because 90 rigid pipe, you got to do massive amount of offsets, where PEX you can do, if it's done correctly, nice mandrel bends. Very nice mandrel
Well,
bends.
Beauchart came up with stainless steel crimp fittings for PEX that aren't just
Yeah.
90s; they're actual swoops.
Swoops.
They're stainless steel fittings. They're not brass or plastic.
I just saw
They're
those.
actually really nice.
I've always
Yeah.
never really been into using a lot of fittings on PEX, like on crimp. I've always used them like to penetrate walls and floors, but anything other, and we were talking about your toilet supplies, so use 90s straight lengths of pipe to penetrate walls and floors, but going into ceilings, nice mandrel bends. Like picture exhaust systems, when you do mandrel bends on exhaust systems, how it free flows and restrictions. It's kind of the same kind of, you know.
we got called into a high rise recently. Fluctuation in water temperature in the 3 bottom floors. The system's fed from the top down. So we go up, we take a look. Everything seems to be working good. We check the recirc. Recirc pumps installed, seems to be working okay. We go downstairs. We go down to the bottom floor. We found that somebody came in for a repair. They ripped out the 1.25 copper recirc line. They put in 1 inch PEX. Well, the pump couldn't keep up with that anymore. Like it couldn't pull, so basically wore down the bearings.
Oh, and blew the pump?
It didn't blow it, but it's not acting to the way that it was. And like,
Grinding.
yeah, now on the 3 lower floors in this building, they get a fluctuation of temperature, and that's common mistakes that you're seeing in the industry now. Yeah, sure, it's convenient to come in and put the PEX in, but you're not seeing the result of understanding the science of the plumbing.
Yeah,
right?
but that's also lack of education. Like I've always been a believer, if like you go in there and you go in to chop out a 1 inch, 1.25 inch piece of copper, you're not going to be putting in packs. It's just like you're never going to transition.
But you don't know the trade.
But how
was
many
or
plumbers? Yeah.
What was in the van?
or who they sent.
What drug he's on? What
That's
Well,
poor
it
training.
he's on.
It kinda goes
poor
back to
poor
what you were
training,
saying.
though. Poor training.
It
poor
kind of goes
training.
back to what you were saying about someone who's putting in a hydronic system. If they're just looking at the manual and they don't understand the science behind it,
Yes, they need to understand that.
they need to understand it. And that's where the service aspect of the trade comes in, because a lot of people look at service, oh, you're just a service guy, you can't do construction. I understand how that pump works all the way down. I know how to repair that pump. It might take a little longer to do the construction side of things, but I understand how it works. And I have a
If I
similar
ever heard
repair.
that, I mean, my ears would perk, and I would just look around and just wonder, okay, so who's actually going to put this person in their place?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, all right, Jenna, we got to wrap it up. I like Thomas. Honestly, we actually covered almost everything that we kind of put together. You guys have been amazing, absolutely amazing. Honestly, I hope you guys just enjoyed this as much as I did.
Yeah, it was
because
fantastic, Manny.
it was
Thanks for
great.
being a part of this.
Thomas,
first
thank
round
you, and
table.
Manny, thank you so
really
much
appreciate
for.
it.
I just
putting
ask
this
questions so
together.
I could take it to myself, so I could save the money from not hiring you guys. That's all I do. I don't want to feed into your Porsche fetishes. That's all it is, man. Every plumber I know has a Porsche.
I think everyone here is an open book, so I think everyone's happy to share.
And then that's what's amazing. Like, you guys are totally looking at it as a community instead of competition. I think that the younger generation really needs to understand that. That's hugely valuable. Getting in or getting out of this industry, man. Yeah. Just understand that there's lots of brothers and sisters in this business, man.
100%.
Well,
I'm just
plumbers
looking for
have
a
a
backup
Porsche,
plan.
so I can call them up and say, what the hell?
I'm just looking for a backup plan just in case.
Just in case. If you guys want to share your information again, just as we kind of sign off, so everyone knows who we're speaking to. I mean, they'll all be in the show notes. So if anyone wants to reach out, obviously you guys are totally open to people reaching out. If they're applying for a job, they want to shadow you guys and learn something. Like,
Yeah, we'll even answer questions if you have them.
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So starting with you, Aaron.
Aaron again from Expert Plumbing and Drains. Instagram is Expert Plumbing and Drains Canada. yeah, check us out. We're here if you have any questions or queries, and we're here to facilitate the future for anybody that wants to get into the trade. So don't be afraid to reach out.
Adam Gordon Bot Plumbing on Instagram. I work for Arella Group. If you're looking for anything, give me a shout out on Instagram. I'll always answer my questions. And yeah.
Rob from Galaxy Plumbing, galaxyplumbinginc.ca. And you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and we're always looking for great talent to grow our thriving business. And send us a resume or reach out if you have any questions regarding plumbing or construction. We're here.
Sam from Oakville, Sam the Plumber. Website is samtheplumber.ca. Nobody remembers a phone number. If you want to go to the website, samtheplumber.ca, you can fill out the contact form. You leave a little message. You can get my email address from there. You can get all the information. And yeah, just a small little family business, just me and my 3 sons, and we love doing plumbing.
How long did it take you to come up with your handle, Sam the Plumber?
Not
so
long.
funny.
I love that handle. I really do. Sam the Plumber is so
cool.
sick, man.
It was pretty cool. Do you remember that thing
Yeah, it does
years
stick.
ago where it was Joe the Plumber? It was that whole political thing.
Yeah.
That's when it hit me. Joe the Plumber.
But Joe doesn't
Freak's
sound good.
I'm
Who's
Sam
Joe
the
is like
Plumber.
Sam the Plumber. So anyway, it's called GoDaddy. Pretty much that next week. Bought the rights.
And it was available?
And it was available.
Wow.
.ca was available.
A lot of people are
And,
sour about that.
I think
I
I paid
know.
like $16, and I've paid it ever since for that handle. I own the website and stuff, and they still send me emails to, hey, you want samtheplumber.com, for like $2,000 or something. I'm like, no, I don't.
I'm
good.
I'm good right there.
CA, Canada, Oakville. I want to thank Thomas and Dahl Valves
Shout out
Limited.
Dahl.
Thank you so much for all the water bottles. Everyone's seeing these, and
Yeah.
we're going to
Here we
enjoy it.
Fantastic.
And I guess, so, yeah, we have the swag. No, there's no swag. We'll get swag from you eventually one day or something. But
Yeah, I tell you what, you guys, everyone who's here, on the catalog. Oh yeah, you can't hear me. I'm back.
Nice.
Yeah, you 4 guys, pick 6 valves out of catalog you like. And, let me know and I'll send them to you.
Fantastic.
I know where you work.
wait, there's a fifth guy.
You're
Awesome.
Man,
Do you work out of the actual building?
dull.
Dahl?
No, I'm located on a South Pacific island, which will be undisclosed at this point.
Nice.
I
Oh
lives
my
in-
God! Can you invite us?
Midland.
We actually done a water main. Dahl blew their fire service. Like
Oh, did you do that for us?
I did that. Yeah.
Oh,
That
shit,
was me.
Sherlock.
Sorry,
Oops,
did I do a good
about
job?
the language.
That's awesome.
He's got a cottage, so we're all going up.
Yeah, I'm going
Yeah, I
to-
can't wait.
yeah, so I've been in Airbnb because I'm doing a rental on my house.
Nice.
Right? Yeah, slow and slower. And yeah,
Manny's
so
doing
for
it,
the
doesn't he?
cottage, I'm going.
How about the cottage? Is there a cigarette boat or something like that?
Cigarette boat.
No.
Okay.
No.
That's great.
Okay, I'll take a
Thomas.
fishing
Thanks a
boat. We
lot.
can go fishing.
I got a tin can. I got a closed
Perfect.
bow 18.
Perfect.
That's all we need, man.
I
That's all
want
we
to go
need.
fishing.
But yeah, but thanks, guys. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I think that's it, gentlemen. And you're more than welcome to return and do a show individually and just focus on you guys, man. I'd love to have you guys back individually. And
thank you.
obviously, if we want to plan another one, I'd love for you guys to come back in a little while and see what else new and kind of going on in the industry. I don't know. It'd be great to have a show with you, Sam, and your 3 boys, man, to get that perspective.
Yeah,
Wow.
that'd be cool.
Yeah,
So,
that would be
Manny,
great.
I'm going to say thanks a lot for that. I wasn't expecting like an individual stuff, but before that, I'd say I would be coming back if these guys were here. I'd most certainly would appreciate the opportunity to come back and share some information for all the people out there and learning some stuff. If you learned anything from it, it's always a good thing and stuff. But yeah, coming back, I would love to. I love your show and
Thanks,
love what
man.
you do, and I
should
think it's
do it.
great for the community and your footprint, and it must make you feel really good. And that's
Feels great.
And that's at the end of the day, it feels great. I love it too. Yeah, it's great.
You should do a Royal Rumble. Like an electrician, a plumber, an HVAC guy, and then we'll just throw a roofer in there
There's
just
not
for
going
fun.
to be any talking going on. It's just going to be tools flying around the
Listen,
table.
no one cares about the electrician. Like honestly, like look at every movie and show out there.
Throw a roofer in there just
No,
for.
but it's
I like
true,
the roofer.
No,
Rob's going to be dodging bullets from every electrician out there.
Just for the record, that's Rob from Galaxy
Yeah, no
Plumbing
one
that just
cares.
said nobody cares
Cares about
about
the
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 electrician.
only reason why I say that, the
Please don't cut the power off to his house.
Right now, there's
You
a
might
truck
need
in
it.
your house, man.
You need to have best Dan Rupert in here
No,
versus all of
we,
them.
we care about all the trades.
Yeah, of course.
When he goes out.
I'm just kidding because my brother's a licensed electrician. One of my best friends, an electrician, and we just go
No,
back.
this
Where do you
is
work?
a
Where do you live again?
Yeah,
What's the address?
Trust me, don't worry about it.
No, thank you, gentlemen. Honestly, thank you very much. Really,
Yes,
thank you, Aaron. Thank you,
you,
Adam,
thank you.
Rob, Sam,
Thank
Tom.
you.
Thank you. This is like something I've been coming up with for a long time. Rob actually pushed me and started making suggestions, and all of a sudden put this together. And I think it's going to be the beginning of something beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I definitely
I
think
think so,
I think
too.
a lot of people that are listening are notepad in hand and taking notes. If they're not, then they're an electrician.
Yep.
So we're out of here. All right, guys. Angelina.